Sorry about that, folks. I was muted. I'm gonna restart from the beginning. I am your DMGM storyteller, Forgotten Dreams, and I am joined by a lovely group of people. I have Cabby over next to me. I have the other players below me, and let's get some introductions real quick, and then say who you're playing, and we'll get a roll on this thing. So, starting off with Cabby, who are you playing? Fantastic. All right. Next up, we have Eric. Who are you playing? Fantastic. And last but not least, somebody you may recognize from some of the other shows that we've done in the past, we have Ava.
Masters, and we'll see if she survives.
Fantastic. All right. So, bringing things in, and don't worry, folks, we will make sure to have everyone do like personal introductions of what they look like and things like that when we officially get into things. But bringing things in, we start with a black screen saying it is the year 2023. So only 2 dreaded years from now. And the screen fades from that black onto a TV screen in an apartment. In some of you, if you want to look this up, you can. It's the 21 Chelsea Apartments in downtown New York City. And as we focus in on that TV screen, we hear the following.
Tonight, CDC scrambling to investigate thousands of missing bodies in the Lake Kivu region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda after the explosion that rocked the area 6 days ago, sending noxious fumes into the air for miles. With nearly 2 million confirmed dead after the explosion and 500,000 confirmed infected in Africa from the path of the fumes, with a virus dubbed the Kivu Shivers. CDC officials are desperately trying to keep a quarantine on Lake Kivu to keep loved ones of the deceased from catching the virus. Officials had begun body collection this Thursday, but quickly realized that bodies they had collected or marked for collection suddenly went missing. Also tonight, 874,000 cases of the Kivu Shiver now confirmed across Europe, and 3,000 cases in Atlanta and New York City. Businesses and restaurants in both cities being shut down, and National Guard forming quarantine perimeters. With a cloud of fumes from the lake finally dissipating in Barcelona, Spain, no one was surprised with rampant cases in Europe. But after only 4 days, the first case appeared in New York City. And yesterday was the first case outside of New York, already the total confirmed ramping up of 3,000. CDC officials have managed to confirm as of 3 days ago that it's not airborne, instead, believing it's spreading much like COVID 19 does. Riots spreading across the U.S. tonight, following 2 South African tourists being shot and killed by police officers in Athens, Georgia, after they coughed violently during a traffic stop. The officers involved saying they felt their lives were in danger. The two had been in the U.S. for over a month, well before Lake Kivu exploded, and were on the way back to their hotel after testing negative at Athens Regional Hospital. Autopsy of the two revealed that Marcus Abara, the driver, who you can see coughing in the body cam video, had stage 2 lung cancer. This caused the coughing of blood you saw in the video, which is one of the symptoms of the Kivu shivers.
Tear gas. Tear gas. There's tear gas just dropped right near us. It's going to get very bad here if we don't have masks. Yeah, so they're throwing it back. There are a lot of beanbags being shown and tear gas.
Door-to-door testing began today in New York City, with a simple but effective test discovered yesterday. A quick swab of the nose or a drop of blood in rubbing alcohol is all it takes to find out if you have it. Nurse Judy Callister of the New York Presbyterian Hospital is the one that created the test. New York Governor Cuomo now implementing a block by block, door by door search for those infected to get them to hospitals immediately to reduce the chances of spread. Anyone with symptoms coughing blood, shivers, high fever, aching muscles can quickly find out if they have it with a simple swab of the nose and some rubbing alcohol. But for those proving to be asymptomatic, a drop of blood and rubbing alcohol is used.
It's a shocking sight. National Guard soldiers in combat fatigues herding passengers at LaGuardia Airport in New York. Passengers are ordered to fill out forms with detailed questions about their travel, health, and contact information.
Breaking news tonight as President Biden officially closes the borders and puts heavy travel restrictions on domestic flights, with states beginning to deploy their National Guard for interstate border crossings. Constant testing at checkpoints being done for anyone choosing to travel. Anyone found to have the virus while traveling is immediately placed into isolation villages being set up nearby the checkpoints.
So I want to just put down the marker. The National Guard should not be brought here. We have 36,000 police officers. They are the best equipped to deal with this situation. And you know what will help them deal with the situation? Not the National Guard. The people of New York City are much more powerful than anything the National Guard could do.
All right. As we watch this, eventually the camera pulls out on those last few words, and we can finally begin to hear the sounds of New York from the apartment that we are listening in. Okay, getting that set up. There we go. Currently, the camera goes through the window and we watch as it goes down to street level, where we can see a ambulance vehicle is pulled up to the apartment complex, as well as a white van, which is currently unloading a number of nurses. And that is where we actually introduce our first character. As stepping out of the white van, we happen to see, and I apologize, I haven't gotten all of your names fully down yet, I believe Rachel McMasters. Step out of the white van. And what would Rachel look like on work, or at work, I should say?
Well, she would have her scrubs on, of course, everything else. But if it's for testing purposes and stuff like that, she'd probably have the biosuits on and that whole thing, kind of looking a little ominous, a little scary. As she steps out, she'd probably look up at the length of the building just to see, how much or how many potential tenants we have to check, kind of thing.
Quite a few, unfortunately, as you look up at the 8th-floor apartment building. And in your hands, you aren't doing the testing personally today. Instead, you're going to be an assistant tester. So you've got a clipboard and a pen, and you've got a list of names, and you're actually going to be starting on the 8th floor and then working your way down with the patients. You know that there's an elevator here, luckily, so that's going to make some ease of access. And this apartment complex was very recently built. So it's got a very nice look on the outside. I mean, whereas a couple of the buildings nearby it look to be old, somewhat chipping brick and mortar, this one looks like it's brand spanking new and out of one of those apartment catalogs that you see advertised in New York all the time, but rarely ever get.
Would I think that this is like upper middle class, middle class?
This is definitely upper middle class.
Okay.
And as we see Rachel stepping out of this vehicle, her clipboard and pen in hand, and her assistant, Melissa Parker, coming out with a small kit in her hands of test vials and cotton swabs, and also a grouping of about 10 disposable needles and blood collectors. We pull the camera back a little bit and we focus back over towards that ambulance that sits behind this vehicle, and we can see the driver just getting out, and we can hear the door opening and closing on the other side of his assistant also getting out, as we see Cabby. And what would Cabby look like?
5'5", 220, blonde crew cut, red beard, dressed in just typical EMS navy blues.
Fantastic. And the reason you're here, Cabby, by the way, is you have the glorious duty of being a glorified taxi today. Anyone who is designated as infected due to the tests that the 12 nurses are going to be doing today, you are going to stick with them and you're going to go floor by floor. And as soon as someone tests positive, you are going to be, of course, with the assistance of 2 officers who are also out here, escorting them down to the ambulance and then taking them over to, let me see here. I'm trying to find the name of the hospital. One second. I got to find the one that was closer. That's the one. So you are taking them over to the New York City Health Plus Hospital at Bellevue. That's where you're driving them over to today if anyone registers as sick.
All right.
And the 2 of you kind of gather up along with all the other nurses and, of course, your assistant in the van. The 2 officers, one is a very large black man, maybe in his early 40s, a little overweight, but still got a little bit of muscle definition. And the other one, a scrawnier white guy in his early 20s, looks to be sort of, he has that attitude of someone who just got on the force maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and he's just doing, his street patrols with this guy. But today they've been requisitioned to stick with you guys. So they lead you through the entranceway to this apartment block, and immediately it is a stark contrast to normal apartment blocks that you oftentimes walk into. It's got a beautiful shining granite floor. There's a help desk with a woman behind it who kind of just waves as all of you enter. You can hear the light buzzing of a TV behind her. It's currently turned to HBO Max. And she simply gets up and walks over to an elevator and opens it up for you guys and hands one of the officers off a key card so that he can use the elevator. And after a little bit, the officers manage to get all of you up there. He has to do it in 2 shifts, and he gets you guys up to the 8th floor. And the plan is it's 1 recorder nurse, which in this case is going to be Rachel as one of the recorders today, and then 1 testing nurse. And there's 6 groups in total. And 3 of you are going to take the left side of the complex initially, and the other 3 are going to take the other side of the complex initially. And then you all are going to meet at the elevators in the center and then go down to the next floor. So Rachel, you and your partner walk over to a door that is marked 813. And the officer goes ahead and knocks on it for you guys, and he announced, "NYPD, please open up for testing." And he begins to walk off to the next door for the next group of nurses. When the camera goes through the door and we can see a new face on the other side, Dexter Cormack. What would he look like?
Dexter's about 6'3", about 240 pounds, somewhat muscular. And he'd be probably exercising at the time.
Fantastic. So you're in, does he have an exercise sweatsuit, or is he just like shorts and a shirt kind of guy?
He like shorts and a t-shirt.
Fantastic. So you're in your shorts and your t-shirt. You've been going at this for at least 30 minutes already, so you've got a little bit of sweat collected on you, and you hear the banging on the door, and of course that call out, "NYPD, come for testing."
Okay, Dexter would go to the door and open the door and, hey, how's it going? So you guys on the news this morning?
And
Is that the apartment he's at 813, correct?
yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. I'd greet him very professionally and just hello, sir. As you know, we're here to do the testing that is required now, and we appreciate your cooperation. Is there somewhere comfortable that we could, have a little seat, go over some of these questions?
Sure, come on in.
Awesome.
So Dexter would lead him into his living room.
Okay, so the three of you, the assistant nurse, the main testing nurse, and also Dexter, you all walk into the apartment and go sit down, and the camera kind of pulls back from that just as we see the testing nurse beginning to open up her kit to go and swab his nose, and we pull over over Cabby's shoulder for a minute as he's stepping out of the elevator finally up on this floor, and he immediately, the moment you hear out immediately as you step out of the elevator, you can hear the sound of someone falling, and it sounds like it's coming from your left, and you look over and you can see the door just being closed to 813, and you see the officer, the black officer I mentioned earlier, standing at 817, a little bit further down the hall, and he's got his ear up to the door. He says, "Sir, can you hear me? Sir?" And as you're watching that, the camera then pulls back from Cabby for a moment and shows the entire breadth of the hallway. The other officer on the other side of the complex with the other nurses kind of notices this and begins walking your way. And that's kind of your message. All right, let me go check this out in case there's something we got to do here. And you begin walking over there, and you get to the doorway of 813 when you hear a crash behind you, Cabby. Your head immediately turns around, and you can see that the officer that was behind you at this point had gotten to the doorway of 810, which is just on the other side of the elevator that you just came out of. And it lines up with the stairwell that you can take to go downstairs. And just as he crosses by that door, you can hear the door slamming open, and an individual grabs onto the officer, and they both go tumbling down the stairs. What would you like to do?
You said the other officer is where in relation to me?
So you just had one officer who was on the other side of the complex go down the stairs with an individual, and the black officer is at a door ahead of you at this point, and he's also noticing this, and he's beginning to move your way.
All right. At that point, I am going scene safety. I'm gonna get the hell out of his way and let him go check it out.
Okay. You watch as he steps past you, and we get this great shot of you going against the wall, him passing you, and we can see the letter or the numbering of the doorway 813. And as soon as he gets to the top of the stairwell, you hear the sound of 2 shots go off. The other officer pulls his gun and begins running down, and he says, "Pat, are you okay?" And you hear another 3 shots, and you hear the sound of someone gurgling.
All right. I'm assuming I've got radio with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna radio dispatch and let them know that we have shots fired at our location and that we need more units inbound.
Fantastic. So you give the call out for shots fired. There are a few yells that pick up in the hallway as a few of the nurses hear the shots, and reactively they start moving towards the elevator slowly and carefully. And you hear another gunshot, and then finally nothing coming from the stairwell. You can't actually see down in the stairwell from where you're standing, but there's no sound of movement at all. Eventually, you get the call over dispatch that officers are on their way. Meanwhile,
Right.
inside the apartment, We have our testing nurse and Rachel sitting in front of Dexter, and she's just putting the swab inside of the little testing tube of rubbing alcohol, and she shakes it, and you can see that there is no change in color. For someone who was infected, you're looking for a deep brown to form on the Q-tip that you use. You don't see a change in color, and that's when you hear those first few gunshots.
Okay, Dexter's head twitches towards the door, and he looks back at the two nurses. Did you all hear that?
Yeah. We should probably go see real quick what's happening. And she goes towards the door to open the door.
Pat, are you okay? And you open the door, and you can see Cabby in front of the door, kind of looking towards the stairwell at this point, and that's when you hear the other gunshots, and then it goes quiet. As Cabby is also doing the call for shots fired and needing additional assistance.
I look back and I say to Dexter, there were shots fired. I look at Cabby and I'm like, you called it in?
Just kind of looking down at my radio and looking over at her. Yeah?
As the two of you stand there in the doorway looking at each other for a moment, you could hear the sound of the elevator doors opening, and one of the, actually 3 of the nurses begin to rush into the elevator, trying to get to the lower floor and get away from this entire situation. And while the doors open, you hear a scream from inside the elevator before you see a flash of something coming out of the stairwell and towards the elevator. The two of you go ahead and make me a spot listen check. And just so the audience knows, this is our first time playing the Outbreak Undead system, and this is my first time as well. And this is, in particular, 2nd edition. So we're going to go over to the character sheets, and for our characters, what they need to do is they need to go on their sheet and they need to hit the button that says Spot Listen. When they hit that, there's going to be a little screen that might pop up behind their character sheets that asks them if they want to use any, relevant, I believe it's, give me one second. Yeah, any kits. In this case, we're not using any kits, so we're going to keep that at none. We're going to hit submit, and then the multiplier for this is going to be 1.
And who all is making a spot listen check?
This is just Rachel and Cabby as they are in direct view of the doorway. Okay, so Rachel, you have a 34 that you're looking to roll at or below. You rolled a 53. So that's 2 degrees of failure. Actually, you don't meet 20, so you're actually at 1 degree of failure. And then Cabby, you were looking for a 39 on your spot list, and you rolled a 48. And you're also at 1 degree of failure. And here is where we could narratively have you guys describe to me how you get this 1 degree of failure. That is one of the unique mechanics here on Outbreak Undead, is that when it comes to failures and successes in some cases, well, actually successes in most cases, the players get to offer me suggestions on how they fail or succeed. And they can either use a mechanical succeed or a mechanical failure, or they could use a narrative succeed or failure. So in this case, I'm going to allow you guys to tell me narratively how you failed. What caused you to fail to see this individual as he ran up the stairs and into the elevator?
Well, I'm still looking at Rachel at this point and just dumbfounded at a really stupid question.
Well, okay. It wasn't stupid. But anyway, so
Have I mentioned that I'm an asshole at work?
she missed it because it would have been out of the corner of her eye. She was focused on Cabby, and the angling in which she opened the door She's not out in the hallway, so she wouldn't have been able to get a clear view of it.
Fantastic. All right. You don't have to say any more there. Those are your narration failures. We take those failures away, and we're sitting with a blank, success failure rate here on the board. So, yeah, the individual was just too fast, and your eyes weren't in the appropriate position as this individual goes by. So the two of you only just see something fly by on your peripherals in that direction before you hear screaming in the elevator and the sound of something tearing as the elevator doors close, and you can begin to hear the elevator starting up. And there's the sounds of banging inside the elevator as it begins to go down to the first floor. The other nurses in the hallway immediately start to panic and are kind of in the middle of a situation where they don't know if they should take the stairs or if they should try and find a fire escape to make their way down to the first floor, or if they should just stay here and maybe seek shelter up here, because whatever it was, the bad thing is now in the elevator. What would the three of you like to do as I open up the scene to all of you?
Dexter would begin walking up towards his door where the other two are, and he would say, "Hey, JD and Elliot Reed, you guys in or out? In or out?"
And she would step back because of what she just heard happen, and the screams and stuff or the muffled sounds of distress coming from the elevator. And she'd look at Cabby and be like, and just motion him to come in. He's clean, is what she'd say to him.
As she motions for you to come in, there's a slam from the doorway that the black officer was standing at earlier, coming from the inside out, as it slams twice, and you watch as the door begins to jitter.
All right. At that point, I am going to haul ass into the apartment and pull the door shut behind me and lock.
Okay, as the two nurses would turn around, Dexter reaches below his living room table and slaps his hand against it, and a drawer would pop out, and he pulls a shotgun out from under his living room table and begins loading it.
All right. So you begin loading that, and as you're loading it, the camera begins to pull out of the apartment for just a moment. You can still hear the sound of the other nurses in the hallway kind of nervously talking back and forth as they kind of look towards the door that's now being slammed on. You hear the sound of another door on the other side of the apartment complex beginning to be slammed on, and then finally you hear a door give way. And it sounds like it's the first one that was being slammed on. And you hear yells begin to break out in the hallway as you hear this weird guttural sound coming from that direction before the sound of footsteps begin ripping down the hallway, and you just hear everyone begin to scream and panic and begin to run.
How many apartment doors would she have noticed on the 8th floor?
Up here on the 8th floor, give me a second.
I was going to say, what's the testing roster say we have in the way of people?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, I'll tell you exactly how many it is. 21 Chelsea. So you're looking at a grand total of 10 people on this floor. And it looks like there are other doors that names aren't assigned to. So more than likely, this entire apartment complex isn't filled up with tenants yet. And that's just on this floor. On the other floors, those floors, you're looking at another 5 on the 7th floor, 8 on the 6th, and then you're looking at another 3 on the 5th floor. And then the rest of the building is empty at this point, according to your sheets.
8. You said 8 on 6?
Yeah. Okay. So
And you said everything below the 5th level is empty?
everything below the 5th level is empty.
Okay.
And Dexter, you know that this complex it's been open to renting for the last 4.5 months now, and renters have been trickling in slowly but surely. But you haven't had a whole ton of people move in, so it's pretty sparse despite this place's excellent location. And for those of you who aren't looking on the map but kind of know the area of New York, they're roughly about 5 blocks from Madison Square Park.
So I'm not sure if I'm just not remembering this or not, but what are the clinical symptoms of?
There's fever, coughing with blood, the jitters or shakes,
Shivers, yeah.
shivers. I think those were like the major ones.
Yeah,
there may be
muscle
one
ache,
other.
coughing
Muscle
with
ache,
blood,
yes.
shivers, and high fever.
All right, so aggravated violent behavior is not of known symptoms currently, right?
Correct.
Okay. So at that point, still a little confused as to what's going on. I am going to once again call on dispatch while I make my way over towards the window.
Mm-hmm.
And let them know that we've got potentially multiple infected. We have 2 officers non-responsive, and we are currently barricaded in place. There appears to be some kind of altercation out in the hallway. At this point, I figure I'd be by the window. Are the windows able to be opened at all?
These windows, I'm just going to double check this for this apartment. There we go. The windows in here, I'm sorry, no, that's the wrong one. Where's the other apartment? Give me 1 second. Are able to be opened. And what you are looking at, essentially, is from this view, you're actually staring at an older apartment, maybe a good 6-foot clearance away from this window, in a small alleyway. So there's no great view in this particular apartment.
Can't see out to the street. Got it.
Right.
All right. So I'm just gonna kind of stick my head out and look down the alleyway, see if there's anything going on down below.
Okay. So you open up the window, and as you open up the window, you can hear off in the distance. 1 second here. I need to adjust the sound volume for this. Yeah. So you can hear the sound of screams off in the distance. And you hear that dispatch is trying to get officers out to you as quickly as they can. And as she says that, she lets go of the radio, and there's begins to be a flood of reports from various different officers and a few other EMSs that are in the area. As you look down in the alleyway, you don't see anyone currently in the alleyway. There are 3 very large garbage bins that look like their lids are closed, and they look relatively clean, so they're probably on the newer side. In the alleyway itself, there's some graffiti on the building 6 feet on the other side of the alleyway, but this building is currently clean of graffiti, and there's this window does not have fire escape access.
So, hearing the screams out the window, Dexter's immediately gonna take a little jog into his bedroom, and he comes back out, basically in underwear, getting dressed again. This time, jeans, socks, running shoes, or tennis shoes, shirt and jacket at this point.
Fantastic. As you go to do that, you all hear over the radio the report of several officers, of course, tripping over each other as they go over to the radio to try and call out shots fired. And they call out shots fired at multiple hospitals. And there also, you hear a few calls of assaults at hospitals. And you even catch the tail end of an officer talking about how a man is getting aggressive at the front doors, and you just hear him say, "Wait, wait, wait, wait," and you hear a gunshot a few seconds later before his radio turns off.
Oh my God, what is happening? Like, what is happening right now?
So me being my normal paranoid self, would be looking over at Dexter and be like, do you have anything heavy that, like, someone could swing?
What do you mean exactly?
I don't know. This is New York. You got a baseball bat?
Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, Dexter will hold the shotgun out to Cabby. And he walks over to a wall next to the closet, and there is a vertical mirror there. He pulls on the vertical mirror and pulls out an AK-47 and several magazines.
So I'd be sitting there, kind of holding up my hands at the shotgun, like, I'm not. Yeah, I fired a couple of times, but I'm not great with them. Something I can swing, it'd be better.
He says you don't have to be great with the shotgun, just point it in the direction and pull the trigger. You'll hit it.
Do we really need guns? Like, is this what's happening right now?
Did you hear the shots fired down the hallway? They have guns. We need guns.
Okay. I just don't. I just.
There's a
don't know what's
sound of
happening.
glass breaking, and all of your attention is pulled to the window that Cabby opened up earlier. And you can actually, due to the vantage point of these particular windows that you have here in the apartment, you can see across the way a man struggling to keep himself inside of the window of his apartment on the other side of the alleyway. And there is another man on top of him trying to bite at him, and you watch as the two of them go out the window and into the alleyway. And there's a loud thud as you think they hit the trash cans.
Oh my God. Did you just see that?
Close window.
What is? And as he's closing the window, she steps back and looks at. She's gonna try to turn on his TV or try to find the remote and turn on the TV or something.
Okay.
And Dexter will proceed to try to find if he's got an old baseball bat from Little League or a golf club, something along those lines. He'll take the shotgun from Cabby and give him whatever he's got available. So Dexter will be carrying both weapons at this point.
All right. Well, you go and you're carrying both weapons, and you hand over, we'll say, a Little League baseball bat. And just as you're doing that, you can hear the sound of more screams coming from downstairs in the apartment building. Unfortunately, this is New York. The walls are a little thin. So you hear the sound of screaming coming from the apartment below you. That is quickly interrupted by the sound of something tearing, and you're not sure what, and then the sound of glass breaking. And you can hear other screams beginning to echo on the 7th floor below you. And then you can hear even fainter ones coming from the 6th floor.
So Dexter slings the AK over his shoulder, still holding the shotgun, and looks back at the other two and says, "Well, we either are stuck in here or we go to see what the fuck is going on."
Do I find the remote for the TV?
Yeah, you find the remote and you turn it on, and currently there is a news report going on. It's one thing I unfortunately missed. It is evening, so the sun has set. It's maybe an hour after sunset, and the lights of the city are on. So ABC late night news is currently on and playing. You can see the reporter that you heard earlier in our intro audio clip currently talking, but she's talking rather calmly, and no breaking news about what's going on has currently gone on to the station. Right now she's talking about National Guard, who they're doing kind of a story piece of National Guard and how they feel about the isolation villages that they're setting up on some of the interstate borders.
So am I aware? Is there a like a security office or anything like that in this apartment complex?
There is. It's on the first floor. And it's 3 doors down from the reception hall. There's a rather, when you bought the apartment, your real estate agent allowed you, it was kind of when the building was first being open to renters, and your real estate agent kind of allowed you to go into that room so you could see, these are the great security measures that they have here. So for a fact, down on the first floor, there's kind of a almost extended floor plan that's about the size of 2 apartments, just with the midsection wall missing, where they have about 30 monitors, all to 30 individual cameras that are both on the outside and inside of the apartment complex. And there is that there's a weapon safe in there, but it only keeps pistols and some small caliber rounds in there. And they have 2 flak vests, and that there's usually either 1 or 2 security officers on duty.
Okay, so Dexter will look back at the other 2 and say that there's a security office downstairs. Do you all want to stay in the apartment? I'm going to go down and check shit out and see what's going on.
I mean, do you think we should really do that? There was something, I don't know what it was, but it went after those people in that elevator.
Best bet in situations like this, hunker down, wait for the people, and kind of looking at the now armed head-to-toe guy standing before me. Okay. Professionals, I guess?
I there's nothing on the news about it. Maybe it's
You all hear an infamous sound go over your phones as all 3 of you look down to. You can hear the usually what's the Amber Alert or tornado warning sound beginning to come from all of your phones.
What the fuck?
Dexter will look down at it for a minute and look back up at the other 2. You still think it's isolated?
So I'm gonna take a minute and read it.
So you pull your phone up and you click the little button for the power to come on, and you can see it says that there's currently a shelter-in-place order, and it's being mandatory by the National Guard until it says until at least 11:30 p.m.
All right. At this point, I'm gonna queue up my radio. Dispatch, do we have any information on this order?
You're getting static back.
All right. At that point, I would be calling everyone I know in dispatch.
Okay. You begin to go down the line of people that you know in dispatch. Even might even switch over to a different channel here or there and try and get a signal out. Nothing, just static.
No. I mean, like I'd pull up my cell phone and be.
I see what you're saying.
Giving calls.
Okay. Who would be the first person in dispatch you want to call? You want to call?
I would probably be calling my buddy on the main dispatch line. And then if he's not picking up, I'd be calling the dispatch supervisor.
Okay. He doesn't pick up, but you do get a few rings on the dispatch supervisor before finally hear hello, and you could hear screams in the background and the sound of gunfire.
Soup, what the fuck's going on?
What? I can't. I'm sorry. Whatever you're saying, a gun went off next to my ear. I can't hear you.
All right. So I'm going to be kind of like holding the phone away from my head at this point. I'm going to hang up and, text a WTF is happening.
Okay. You get a text back. Unknown. Some type of infection, possibly rabies, and then you get a few ... dots, and it just hangs on the ... dots before the ... dots go away.
All right. So looking at it and like rabies. I was a nerd in high school. No, this isn't possible. I'm just kind of, making my way over to the door. I'm gonna look through the peephole, see if there's anything on the other side.
Okay. You look through the door, and you are greeted by a grisly sight. As you can see that all the doors, and there's 3 in total that you can see from the peephole, are open. And the walls on either side of the 3 doors are smeared in blood at this point. And there's just the feet of an individual that is crouched down on top of another set of feet that you can barely see that are moving through the visual of the peephole, and they're kind of the most part of the 2 individuals is out of sight of the peephole.
I'm gonna say to Dexter, I'm gonna be like, I don't think we should leave. Like the broadcast said to stay down, to stay where we're at and stuff like that. Do you have food and stuff like that here?
Yeah, of course. I prepare for storms and whatnot. I've got 6 months worth of food, probably. I've got a lot of shit.
So
you can begin to hear a lot of gunfire off in the distance, sounding like it's coming from definitely the Brooklyn Bridge, and probably in the direction of the Manhattan Bridge, and also the Cary Tunnel.
So just to clarify, because I'm having a hard time visualizing this, out the peephole, basically, I can see the 3 doors across the hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all 3 are open, blood smeared on the walls. I'm able to basically, off like one side, I've got 2 sets of feet that are like horizontal.
Correct.
Okay, so kind of like one person on top of another person.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So at that point, I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna just kind of like put a finger up to my mouth and point for Rachel to hand me her bag real quick.
Okay, she'll of course give it.
All right, so I'm gonna pull a swab out and see if I run it along the underside of the door, if I can collect any blood off the other side of the door.
Okay. In that case, I'm not going to make you do a roll for this, as you simply just get it as best you can on the underside of the door and try and swab for any blood whatsoever on the other side of the door. And as you eventually run it along the underside of the door, maybe about 4 or 5 times, and eventually you pull the swab back, and you can see there's just the tiniest bit of blood on the tip of it.
All right. I am
catch
going.
Yeah, I catch on to what he's doing, and I get the solution ready, and I hand him the tube.
And I'm just gonna drop it in.
And meanwhile, Dexter's checking out the scene through the peephole.
All right.
Trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, so you're seeing the same thing through the peephole right now. It hasn't really changed, except for every once in a while, both sets of feet like shuffle around a little bit here and there while this is going on. As you put the Q-tip into the solution, you close up the solution and you shake it 3 times like you were told to. You watch as the color of it goes from clear to jet black.
Oh my God. Has that ever happened? Has it been documented of it ever going jet black?
No, not to your knowledge.
Okay. The fuck
What?
does that mean?
What does that mean? Dexter's looking between the two.
She looks up at Cabby and she's like, it's never gone black. It's always been like dark brown or something like that. It's never gone black.
So what does that mean?
Well, it can either mean absolutely jack shit, or it can mean it's worse. Not a whole lot we can do to tell, but I'm guessing by, and I just point towards the door, probably means it's worse.
Well, it's clearly related to the illness. Like, I mean, it changed, first of all, right? And that's
Isn't
how
this
we're...
just rubbing alcohol?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can come up with a half a dozen different things that are going to react with this. But again, once again pointing towards the door, I'm a little more concerned with the fact that what's inside people is now outside on the wall.
Yeah, you said you have food and stuff like that here. We have to stay here. We shouldn't be going out.
Just to be clear, I got enough food for 6 months for me. The 3 of us here, I mean, a month maybe, 2?
2 most.
So we're gonna eventually the store is gonna have to open, and we're gonna have to see what's up. I'm in agreement with you. I don't think we should go out and do shit now, like
Well,
right this second. But
I'm gonna look at Dexter here and be like, all right, so you got guns, you got food, and I'm gonna take a good hard look at the door. Is this door different from any of the others in the hallway?
Not in any way.
Okay. We just saw something take down how many of those doors? I don't think this one's gonna fare much better. Well, yeah, I'm aware. I'm the one that said hunker down.
Well, she didn't see what happened out there. I thought the police officer knocked on the door and went in. So the door was opened, wasn't it?
No, so he had knocked on one door and banging started happening from that one, and then another door just got burst open, which the other cop had gotten thrown down the stairwell with. These things, whatever's going on, doors don't seem to be a huge deterrent.
okay, so first things first, throw that shit. And Dexter points at the liquid that just turned black in the tube. Throw that shit in the toilet and flush it. Second, both of you are taking that test right now.
Okay.
No
So
problem.
she goes and she throws it in the toilet, and she discards the materials and
I'll pull a couple of
Everything.
IVs out of my bag and just, jab one into my arm and
yeah, she'll swab her nose and she'll put it in the alcohol solution and shake it 3 times like it's supposed to.
A few seconds pass. No change in color.
I'm clean, and she shows it to everybody.
All right, so I know. I'm sitting here thinking. I've got shelves in the pantries, in the closets. We've got wood slats under the beds. We could. I don't know if I have a hammer and nails, but we could potentially reinforce the door if we had to.
The TV goes monotone.
you said
I turn it off. I turn it off. I turn it off.
You said the building across the alley is only about 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And are we lined up with another window?
You're not directly lined up, unfortunately. You've got maybe about an 8-inch gap from the center of your window to the bottom lip of the window across from you.
Okay, but it's not like, I can stare into another apartment from here, right?
You can the window below that on the floor lower. You can stare into an apartment mostly.
But can they see us?
There's no one in that apartment, so no.
Do I have any tools, specifically hammer and nails, around the apartment anywhere?
I would say yeah. You probably put up the shelves, new shelves, not too long ago because they gave you these really crappy wiry ones in the the very small closet.
Get those damn things.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably exchanged them out for whichever type of shelves you prefer in your closet.
Okay, so Dexter will bring out a hammer and a box of nails, and we can reinforce the door. We need to pull the shelves out of the pantry or get the slats from under the bed, either one.
Okay, and she'll start helping with that. Does the door open in or out?
The door opens in.
Got it.
Okay.
So my curiosity regarding the window was mostly pertaining to if someone was determined enough, could they jump from that lower window up to ours?
Not from the lower window, not with the way it's built, because it's built like one of those windows where it's like there's a window frame that could probably, you would have to be hunched over to go through. There's a bar, there's maybe like a 3-inch concrete bar, and then above that there's another window frame, and that makes up what is considered an entire window on the apartments across from you. So no one could just full force run out of the window and jump at you from that particular one. However, to the left of that window, there's a small balcony with 2 double doors that lead into the same apartment that someone could reasonably open up the doors and then do a running jump onto the metal balcony bar, and then, if they're really lucky, smash in through you guys' window, because you guys have a different style window because this is a newer building where it's one large glass pane with 2 smaller sliding window doors on either side of that large pane, and that's in the essentially living room area of the apartment.
Okay. So, pointing out the window, looking over at Dexter. If you reinforce that, we got to figure out how to reinforce this. Cause
dude, I'm in good shape. I couldn't make that jump.
And
you'd have to be Carl fucking Lewis to make that jump.
And just kind of looking out and down into the alley.
There's the cracked open skull of the man you saw get pushed out of the window or out of the window on the other side earlier, and no other individual in that alleyway, even though you saw 2 individuals go down.
Kind of confused at this for a moment. I'm just gonna kind of wave the other 2 over. I'm kind of not willing to take chances at this point and just point down.
Yeah, but we got to do one or the other. I say we do the front door first. It's on. It's the most likely entry point into this place.
Okay. Okay.
So we need somebody to brace the door while the other two. One holds the lateral boards. I guess I'll do the hammering. It could draw attention, so.
I was gonna say, thinking about the idea of hammering boards into a door frame.
Dexter will start searching. Does he have screws and a drill?
You do have screws and a drill. However, you don't have a full-size drill. You've got one of those screwdriver drills. They're very quiet. They just have a shorter battery life. So whereas a normal drill might probably last you a good 2 hours of work, this one maybe only lasts you a good hour and a half.
Okay, so he kind of shrugs and pulls it out and grabs the box of screws. This will have to do for now.
So going over to the door, I'm kind of curious and just see what's gonna happen. Dex, you mind coming over here? This could end badly.
I go over and I look to what could end badly. What are you talking about?
So I'm gonna go over to the door. I'm gonna look out. Do I still see those two sets of feet outside?
No, nothing.
Okay. If I put my ear up to the door, do I hear anything out in the hall?
Make me a spot listen check. No gear, kit, and one modifier.
I'm stone fucking deaf, apparently.
Wow, you rolled an 84. All right. So, how would you like to? Here's what I'm gonna offer you. I'll let you. We'll narratively say, or you narratively tell me how you want to get rid of one of those failures. And remember, this is a deal. You don't have to accept this deal. I will take the other 3 failures as risk.
What does that mean? What does that mean you'll take it as risk?
Risk is a point buy system essentially for me, just like survival points is a point buy system for you. We're using kind of a addended version of it for easier play, seeing as this is our first time using it. But what risk allows me to do is it allows me to either create, something like an environmental hazard, or it allows me to, if I have enough points, buy a stronger enemy type, or maybe I can create something down the line, whatever I choose to. Spend risk to create some sort of small or major, depending on how many points I have, complication down the line.
All right.
So what you're saying is we have terrible skills and terrible ability to make these checks. Not only that, but our failures to those skills
are making
will
the things that are going to happen much worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can't have that. They remember, this is me offering you this deal. You can narratively explain one of way, and then I'll just take the other 3 as 3 risk points. Versus you can try and narratively and possibly even narratively go through all 4. How would you narratively go through all 4 negatives?
Dexter would walk up and also stick his ear against the door to assist.
Okay.
All right.
So, Dexter, you can go ahead and make me the same roll. Oof.
Jesus Christ.
Not much better.
You rolled an 82 out of a 48 that you were looking for. You guys are rolling really high. which would be, great in some systems, but this system we're looking to be lower. So, maybe talk to your character sheet dice, have a little discussion with them in the side corner and say, hey man, we got to roll a little bit lower,
Yeah. So, having spent years driving around in an ambulance, my hearing is not the greatest to begin with. I definitely have some tinnitus going on.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I just kind of have a ringing in my ears. I cock my head to one side.
I'll give you something a little bit better there. You, just like you said, you do have tinnitus, but you have tinnitus flare-ups. You don't always have ringing in your ears. It's just every once in a while, and you're not sure if it's the weather or something else. You hear that ringing in your ears constantly, and it just happens to flare up as you go over by the doorway. So that's one risk gone, or not one risk, but one failure gone.
All right. You know what I'm realizing about this game? This game just it rewards the art of bullshit.
It does. It does. This game is exactly that.
So as I'm, kind of leaned up against the door, my ear starts ringing and I back off a little bit. The sound off in the distance, which you said is growing closer, right?
Yeah, it's slowly growing closer.
And we've still got the window open, and I'm
you can still hear the sound of people screaming outside, which is kind of beginning to get
I'm
muffled out.
Distracted by the sounds coming from outside the window, which is open currently.
Mm-hmm. That's 2 down.
TV. You said you turned the TV off, though, Ava, right?
Yeah.
So Dexter will turn back towards the other two and say, look, I know it's a risk, but if we don't do it, whatever it is out there gets in. So get over here and help me.
I would get over there and help him.
So okay. I've reasonably only got two that I can get out.
Correct.
Of.
You've got 2 that you can get out of.
I'm saying reasonably.
Correct.
I can only come up with 2.
Gotcha. So here's what I'll ask at this point. You've taken away 2 reasonably. Can you think of something else to take away a 3rd and 4th one, or would you like to hand those over as risk?
I can think of potentials. Number 1 would be, what man puts a drill in his hand and doesn't rev it up at least once?
Did you have the drill in your hand, or did Dexter have the drill in his hand?
No. Dexter had the drill in his hand, but what man puts a drill in his hand and doesn't rev it at least once?
It's true.
Which he may have done right as I stuck my head up against the window.
Okay.
Or up against the door.
Okay. So that distracts you as well. And what we'll say is that takes away your 3rd, right? But because you're also including Dexter in that in this one, that's going to take away one of his 3. So Dexter is now also, he's down to 2, you're down to 1 that you have to work off.
All right. Wouldn't he have one down 2, or another one down 2, just because of everything coming up from outside the window?
I'll allow that. So Dexter, you're down to 1. Cabby, you're down to 1.
And Dexter shrugs as he also pulls away from the door, and as Cabby mentions something about the goddamn sirens from the thing, and he'll just kind of shrug and say, gun range.
All right.
Same boat,
Dexter's clear, and Cabby, you're clear with that.
All right.
Okay,
Art
so
of bullshit, Eric.
Nice, guys. Good job on figuring out why you suck.
Dexter's going to stick his foot out and press it against the door to brace it. He'll put a hand up on top as well and stick the first board against the door. And
I'm gonna hold up a hand real quick. I'm just gonna go through with the plan that I had real quick. I'm gonna kind of point up towards the peephole to Dexter, and then I'm gonna put my face down by the door jamb, and I'm just gonna let out one kind of not super loud whistle,
What?
Wouldn't
What?
it
What?
wouldn't it be a better idea if we at least got one board on before we start making noise?
Well, I'm trying to do something that's going to be a little quieter than what you're doing, just to see if something out in that hallway is going to react to any noise we make.
Hmm.
All right. So you go ahead and you give out a short, quiet, but still probably audible on the other side of the door whistle. You all wait a few seconds, and Dexter looks through the peephole. Nothing. And you can hear that the screaming outside dissipates.
So Dexter kind of looks back at the other two and purses his lips and shakes his head a little bit.
I'm pushing against the door. I'm
right.
helping.
Start
I'm helping.
drilling.
Okay. We'll start drilling in the first board at that. We're going to do this one directly below the door handle.
Okay.
And longest screws I can find, brass preferably, if at all possible. We're going to make sure that we angle it so that it goes into the door jambs.
All right. So we watch as the camera pans in on this very long screw, and it gets placed up towards the door, and we watch as the essentially mechanical screwdriver comes up behind it and gets placed in the slots, and we fade to black briefly as we cut for break, and we will be right back in a few minutes. So see you soon, folks. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Here We Are Year Zero. We have the wonderful character art for Rachel, which has been put up now. All right, bringing us back into the scene. We instantly come out from that black, we pull back a bit, and we watch as the screwdriver drill begins going, and the screw starts getting put into the door. All right. And how many are you looking to put in this door?
Each board is going to get 2 on each side, so 4 screws per board, and we're going to do 3 boards. 1 right underneath the door handle, 1 across the top, about midway up, and 1 across the bottom, about midway down.
Okay. Fantastic. Let me do one thing for
Well, we've
the
got
music.
Nice even spread of weight distribution if something tries busting in here.
Okay. So just as you are finishing up on that third board, you can all hear down the hallway. 1 second.
Okay, we're going to look out the peephole.
Okay, you look out the peephole. Nothing yet. But it sounds like it's coming just out of you. And on that step, he's just going past where you think the elevator is. Nothing. You don't hear it anymore.
Would I have heard this? Like I
Everybody
heard it,
in the
right?
everybody in the apartment would hear that.
She freezes. I mean, she holds her weight against the door, of course, but she freezes, and she even she starts shaking as she looks over to Dexter, and she whispers, "You didn't see anybody before, right?"
Dexter just shakes his head and puts his finger up to his lips like shh, and then he'll look back out the peephole again.
Okay. You all hear a light whimper coming from behind Rachel as the 3 of your heads turn briefly, and you can see the other nurse, the test nurse, just in the corner, crouched down, hands on top of her head, curled up pretty much in a feeble position, standing feeble position.
Okay, Dexter's going to push 2 boards and hand the screwdriver to Cabby, and he's gonna point back at the window, and then he's gonna grab up the rest of the materials, the boards, the screws, all that good stuff. Start heading back to the window.
Okay. Grab up the rest of the materials. You head over to that window, and as you do, you watch as the other nurse she begins to shiver as you come closer, and she looks up at you, her eyes going wide for a moment, thinking that you're maybe coming over to and you could see it in her eyes. She thinks you're going to throw her out for a moment until you stop in front of the window and you don't look as though you're being hostile towards her. She starts to calm down. She just stays quiet as a mouse.
Okay, Dexter will kind of squat down in front of her and once again, finger to the lips, just kind of quietly shush her and say, everything's going to be okay. And then he'll hop back up and we'll start screwing boards up over this window.
Okay, you start screwing.
On the window, we're going to do enough boards where somebody, even if they were standing on the balcony, they couldn't reasonably get in unless they were, a tiny shit.
Gotcha. So you go over, you place the first board up, you get the first screw set in place, and you begin to drill it in. And who would be closest to the door at this point?
I'm closest because he went to the nurse, and I was just making sure that everything was done and turned after him.
So you hear on the other side of the door at this point.
And she waves her hands to try to get their attention. And then she points back to the door and says, or she doesn't say anything, but she like makes the motion of noise coming like out, like it sounded like
Okay.
like a bird or something.
Dexter's gonna hand the screwdriver down to Cabby, and he's gonna point at.
Screwdriver, didn't I?
Okay, so he will point at the window and say, "I'll be right back. Finish this," and then he will grab the shotgun on the way towards the front door.
Okay, you grab the shotgun. You head over to the door. Do you look through the peephole immediately?
Yep.
You look through, and what you can see is it's the officer, the black officer, who went and investigated the stairwell after his partner was thrown into it earlier. You don't know about that part, but you recognize him as the officer who you saw for a brief moment out of your peripherals as you opened the door, and you saw Rachel and the other nurse at your doorway. And you can see him, his face is gouged open, and you can see blood and the faintest signs of bone through the tears in his face. And there's this viscous black liquid that is just oozing perpetually from his mouth. And his eyes are completely clouded over in white.
Okay. Dexter, doing his very best to not look terrified, will turn back to the others and once again, make the shushing motion, and then he'll point at the door, indicating that there's somebody right outside the door. He will. He's going to hold the shotgun out to. Actually, he'll just go and swap them out. His AK is silenced, and while it's still a rifle and it would still make a lot of noise, it'd probably be quieter than the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to swap those out, and he's going to put the shotgun on the table, the living room table, for Cabby to grab once he's done with the window. And very, very quietly and softly, he's going to walk back to the door and look out that peephole without touching the door.
Okay. You look out the peephole, and it's kind of just leaning its head against the door, not moving.
All right. At that point, I am stopping all bullshit on the window.
Okay. So you stop, and you're kind of having to hold the board in place because you've only got the first screw in.
So I'm going to hold that up, and at the same time, something I just wanted to clarify from earlier, with the radios, and this is a little bit more on the technical side of things, am I getting static, or am I getting, it's called a bonk, where essentially the transmitter is no longer reaching my radio?
You're getting the bonk.
Okay. At which point, I'm going to just go ahead and turn my radio completely off. Grab cell phones, kind of gesture to everyone, put them on silent.
Yeah, Rachel would do this like immediately.
And I'm just going to kind of stand there holding the board, waiting for Dexter to give the go-ahead.
Okay, and Dexter flips the little silent switch on the side of his phone as well, and slides it back in his pocket, and then holds his hand up like wait, like a wait motion, and he watches that cop to see if he pulls off of the door and moves on.
You hear from the corner by the window a brief beep, 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 as you can hear the sound of the other nurse's phone going silent. And that cop is just sitting there. And as he sits there, eventually he sort of slides his head to the left and then slides his head to the right. And he's not so much looking, because he would have nothing to really look at. He can't see through the peephole, at least not very well, if he tries. It feels like it looks like it's more like feeling for a vibration is what the sense that you're kind of getting. And after a few moments, he lifts his head from the door, and you hear the crash of glass on the other side of the apartment block. It's very loud, and you just hear doom, 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 doom as he begins to run down the hall.
Okay. Dexter will start pointing at Cabby and back towards the window
All right.
to complete the job.
I make sure to tack a screw into the other side now, and then I'll go back and reinforce.
Dexter's immediately going to look back at the two nurses and look at their faces, and I'm trying to judge, like, 1 to 10. How are you feeling currently, terror-wise? And so, if either one of them look like they are, I mean, just completely about to lose their shit, he's going to whisper to the other one, you know, can you help her out, comfort her, sit with her, whatever.
Now, I'm not going to ask you guys to make this roll, but I'm going to make a composure roll for her while all this has been going on. Okay, so she's got the one failure with her composure roll. Her eyes are darting from one side of the room to the other. She clearly looks like she's panicked. You can hear rapid breathing. And, you know, if it weren't for the boards on the door that were already in place, she probably would bolt any second.
Rachel is. I mean, should I make a composure roll? Like, I don't know.
Dropped a little bit of my drink on me. No, you're good. I don't need you guys to make a composure roll yet.
Okay. Rachel is most definitely like on edge, but she knows that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, so she's a little bit calm with that. She looks over at, did you say her name was like Heather or Mary or something? Like, what did you say her name was?
Those are
Holly?
two different names.
Holly?
3 different names at this point. Those definitely aren't the names that I gave her, but she was kind of a random throwaway character that I just kind of put on the spot. So we're gonna go with Megan. Sure,
Megan.
she's okay. Megan.
Heather, Molly, Megan.
Those are usually pretty hot. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Megans are pretty. Whatever, dude. Right.
Megan Silvers. That's what you know her as.
Megan Silver.
She's definitely hot with a name like that.
Oh my god. All right, so
She's like
I'm
an
gonna
8.
go over.
You know how she paid her way through nursing school.
Jesus Christ, you guys. So Rachel's gonna go over and kind of very lightly on her feet approach her and sit down next to her and hug her a little bit and just tell her, hey, it's gonna be all right, but let's get you tested too, and just to be sure. And so she begins doing that with Megan.
Okay.
And yeah.
So you go through the process, and a few moments later, she's clean.
Okay, so she's clean too, and so then she kind of hugs her reassuringly, like she knew it all the time. She's gonna go and just, you know, put that stuff away because it's not contaminated or anything like that. So we're good.
By the way, I should ask. I know you guys threw out the contaminated vial that you had. What did you do with your 3 vials? Or I should say your 4 vials at this point.
I figure they're probably just sitting on the counter after being forgotten about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just so I know.
What? That's not reassuring.
It's just spatial awareness. All right.
So Dexter is going to move over and help Cabby finish off the boards on the window.
Fantastic. With the extra help, it goes by a lot faster. And are you putting like 3 or 4 boards up here?
We're going to do 4 on the window just because it can... just the way that the window opens, we want to make sure that nothing can crawl through.
Okay. So you get about 3/4 of the window sealed off. And it takes a bit of time because this particular window is a little bit difficult to do the screws on the left-hand side of the window. And I'm actually gonna, for my players, I'm gonna take a quick screenshot of the window that we're looking at here, so that they know why it's taken so long. It's because you have to put the nails in at a weird angle on the left side. Give me 1 second. And I need to paste this to Discord. Oh, I need to paste this to one where, yeah, there we go. That one. Boop, there you go.
Oh my god. These are huge ass fucking windows.
Yes, they are. Yeah. All right. So
pulling the blind down.
Well, yeah. Well, this currently that pictures of one of the unfurnished apartments in there that I'm kind of using as a mental baseline for his apartment. So of course we're assuming he has blinds or curtains or something like that.
Well, we're I mean, after the boards go up, like, we're closing that shit up.
Fantastic.
And Dexter is going to be a good host and ask if anybody's hungry. You guys need a drink, anything like that, anything to take their mind off of what's going on. Get them a little bit more focused on.
Do you have Pepsi?
I do actually.
Any Pepsi product, yeah, that'll do. Just a small one. I don't need anything big. After she says that, she kind of curls back into the ball that she's in the corner.
Okay, I do my best. I'll get her a whatever they asked for.
Okay.
Pepsi.
So, mind turning to food. I was gonna say. So you said that this test is just rubbing alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming we've just got a giant bottle of this stuff.
Yeah. So the other nurse brought with her, and from what we've had happen so far, we're assuming that now Rachel has it. She has a large, essentially a not one of the hard ones, but one of the soft medical kits, and it's had all of its medical supplies cleared out, and there's maybe about 30 test tubes in there, 2 large bottles of rubbing alcohol, 100-pack of cotton swabs, sort of like this one here that you can get at any grocery store, and also there are maybe about another 30 of those vials that you put a throwaway needle on and then puncture into someone's arm to collect blood. You've got another 30 of those.
All right.
And that's what's in that bag.
So I'm just going to grab one of the bottles of rubbing alcohol, grab a glass out of the cabinet, pour just a little bit into it, and put some tap water in it.
Okay.
Just to check and make sure, this isn't going to come in through drinking water.
It comes out clear.
All right, I'm going to set that over by the other tests.
By the way,
Any
was
of those
Megan tested?
changed?
Yeah, I tested her. She's clear. And she would have, and I'm sorry, Cabby, she would have showed everybody too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, any of the other tests, like when I go set it over by the other ones, are any of those different?
None of the ones in the apartment. You only know the different one you guys chucked out the window. And kind of to set up the scene for you, we have, of course, Rachel and Megan in sort of the living room in front of the kitchen. And the kitchen is like right next to the door. And you can see that there's a double-doored stainless steel refrigerator with one of those large open up bottom freezers to this stainless steel refrigerator. We watch as Dexter kind of opens that out and pulls a few drinks out, and directly next to him is Cabby, kind of facing out into the apartment itself and out towards the boarded up window at this point, as he's testing essentially the tap water. And behind Cabby you can see there is a stainless steel gas stove and oven, and directly above that is a stainless steel microwave, and there's a few cabinets in between the microwave and the refrigerator, and a few more cabinets in between the stove and the refrigerator.
And also, just to kind of set the stage for the character, which I've been thinking about a little bit, I thought it would be a good idea for the other characters to know that everything in the apartment is immaculately clean, almost obsessive compulsive clean. And you would also notice that there is a backup for everything in the apartment. Like, if he runs out of something, he's got two of them. And this is everything, and things are put away meticulously. Things aren't necessarily labeled, but everything in the apartment has its place, and it all has a spot where everything belongs, so to speak. So it may kind of lean opinions towards Dexter might just be, an obsessive neat freak, or he's just a little compulsive about cleanliness or whatever, but yeah.
Okay. Also, to give you guys a little bit clearer of a picture of the apartment, all of the floors are hardwood. It's the same hardwood in essentially at the doorway in the living room and in the bedroom, but it's two different types of hardwood. There's a different type of darker hardwood when you go into the small area that's set aside as a kitchen, and then there's another hardwood that is in the bathroom across from the kitchen, or not across, but next to the kitchen.
And as Dexter comes back into the living room with some drinks and some snacks and things like that, any type of food that they need, he's kind of multitasking currently. He's going to mention to Rachel that if you need any medical supplies, they're all in the closet in the bathroom or underneath the sink. We've got alcohol, peroxide, the whole deal. I think there's two first aid kits down there, but they're not very big. But have at it. My house is yours at this point.
And as he says, go ahead, Cappy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, one thing I would point out. So I have a wealth of usually useless knowledge. Mm-hmm. I would, point out to everyone else in the area that we probably want to eat all of the stuff that needs to be cooked first in this scenario. Most towns have if everything goes to hell, only about 48 hours worth of electricity. A city like New York, you get about 96 before power just is dead. This would also be a good time for us to start making sure we have anything charged up that needs to be charged up, and make sure we check our see if we can find anything online about what's going on. And
Rachel would nod, and she'd go ahead and start looking, or she'd let Megan look online for whatever's happening, but she'd go and check out like the medical supplies in the bathroom. And she's literally like, she is any type of like hazmat suit she had on or whatever, she's kind of taken off and placed like on a spot near the couch or next to the couch on the floor. And then
I wish our supervisors shelled out for those.
Yeah, sure would be nice.
Then she'll tiptoe over into the into the bathroom and start quietly looking over like inventory and stuff like that.
So Dexter's pantry, everything is like vacuum sealed. Yeah, like I said, he's a rather compulsive person. All of his food and everything would be vacuum sealed up, and obviously there'd be stuff in the fridge that would need to go first because it wouldn't last if the power went out or whatever. But he actually has supplies for staying out storms, and yeah, I wouldn't say that he was a full-on like prepper, but he's obsessive enough to be prepared for things like that.
Says the man who keeps the silenced AK in his bedroom.
Doesn't every
keeps a what?
American?
These are all things that
Every red-blooded American should have in their house.
No, I'm saying I'm not. I won't say that I personally am obsessive about the same things, but I'm pulling things from real life that I have seen and witnessed. So
You're not a prepper, but Dexter is.
no, I actually do have stuff in my home in real life to prepare for things like storms and stuff. Absolutely.
So where is this "you're not a prepper" thing coming in?
Well,
Dexter is like the extreme though. Like he is, or not the extreme. He's probably like maybe
And Eric is the weekend
4 or
warrior
5
of
knots.
preppers.
Yeah.
No. Dexter doesn't have. We're not talking about 5-gallon buckets of freeze-dried food. Okay, he's just got rice on hand. He's got pasta on hand. Everything is, vacuum sealed. He's just obsessive about keeping everything neat and where it's supposed to be. So that's why I'm kind of making the differentiation. We're not talking like Doomsday Prepper where he's got, 2 years worth of freeze-dried food, just add water and you've got, fucking Thanksgiving dinner type of thing. But he does have some supplies, and everything, like I said, is very easy to find. Everything's in its place. He would pull out a little clear tote full of chargers and stuff because he keeps them all together. Hand that out so that they can charge any of their devices, all that kind of thing. And also with the obvious issue of sound being a problem, Dexter's also gonna jump online on his phone real quick, and he's going to turn the sound off on all of his appliances and stuff, his stove, his microwave, so there's no beeping when you push the buttons. Make sure everybody's phone and all their alarms are on silent.
Okay.
He's going to tell Alexa to go to silent mode.
Not welcome to the rice fields.
Do it.
You're not telling Alexa to enter battle mode?
Oh.
So you start doing all this, and outside, from the window, you can hear down the street. You guys are on West 24th Street. West 21st Street, my bad. And you can hear, Dexter, you know this specifically, probably at the corner of 21st and 7th Avenue, which is if you're looking out the window to the left, there is the sound of a few car alarms going off. Woo, 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 woo. And a few moments after that, the phone on the wall next to the door that's linked up to all the different apartments here in the apartment complex starts ringing.
Okay, I'm going to walk up to it, and we're just going to... is it ringing in every apartment?
No, just yours.
Oh my god.
Okay, he's gonna like rush over there and pick it up and just listen on the line for a minute.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Who is this?
This is Michael on the 5th floor. I've been checking all the apartment rooms to see if anyone else is okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, we're good here. What room number are you in?
511.
Do I recognize where that is?
You know where it is in the building. From your apartment's on the right side of the elevators. 511 would be on the left side of the elevators.
Okay.
And it'd be that particular door would be as you come out of the elevator on the right side, and be the first door looking towards the stairwell.
All right. I'm going to say, and he said his name was Michael?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, look, Michael, do me a favor and don't call any more phones. You're making noise around the apartment complex that we don't need, all right?
Are they attracted to noise?
It's the impression I'm getting is noise and vibration. I would just stay in your place, man. Make sure all your doors and shit are locked. Hunker down. Turn off, your alarms and all that kind of stuff. Your radios. Just
Okay. All right.
stay quiet and chill.
Hey, 217's alive too. She's Veronica. 217. She's alive too. And you hear him hang up.
Okay. I'll hang up too. I'm going to switch this phone to
Silent mode or vibrate.
Do I have a vibrate on this phone?
Do not disturb.
How about a light
You
up
have a
mode?
do not
instead of-
disturb. And on the do not disturb setting, what'll happen is when someone's calling, it'll just blink a red light.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
set it to do not disturb.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to use this phone. I'm going to call down to the security room I know the number to it.
You do. So you call up the security room, and it starts ringing. And you can hear on the other side of the line, and you can hear the sound, not of the phone being picked up, but like something like hit the phone, and you hear the sounds of the room, and you can hear the sound of a ham radio in the room that's going off with 107.4 The Fish currently, and it's just playing Christian rock band music in the background, and you just hear on the other side.
Okay, we're going to hang up the phone. Are there any type of... so I'm going to jump on my laptop real quick, or PC, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm going to look up my building, or the company that owns the building. Do they offer any type of live view for the hallway cameras, anything like that you can access online?
They do. They do offer that, and what you essentially have to do is you have to log into their website, and once you log into their website, you have to put in your apartment number, and you have to then put in your full name and the last 4 of your social security to confirm that it's you, and you get the view of the cameras. It allows you the view of the cameras that are in each of the floor's halls, from your floor all the way down to the first floor. Just a straight shotgun view of the halls, the front desk, and also one of the cameras that is at the front door and another camera that's in the alleyway. Those are the only
Okay.
cameras that gives you access to.
We're gonna register and log in and bring that shit up.
Okay, so as you're doing that, the camera kind of pulls back from over your shoulder and looks at everybody else who's gotten on their devices at this time. I apologize, I kind of got distracted with what everybody was doing on online things. So you had Miss Silvers. What was she doing on online? What'd you have her
Trying
doing?
to find information as to what's happening in the city or in news or however, like anything that she can find. Of course, like keeping noise down.
Okay. Yeah, she's got the laptop on mute, and she has Chrome on mute for the tab, and you can see she has the laptop in her lap kind of turned around at this point, and there's a live stream from ABC News on YouTube, and it's currently showing a reporter kind of standing on the other side of the river on the Manhattan Bridge, where you can see that there is still heavily military presence. A lot of National Guard are out there, and it's essentially saying the breaking news feed reads that extremely violent rioters are out and about in the streets and harming people. Unconfirmed reports of people biting each other. And the sub text under that headline is New Jersey National Guard to join New York National Guard in perimeter quarantine of New York. But it's currently mute, so you can't hear what he's saying.
So I'm working on pulling up the live feeds and everything. Do I have Bluetooth earbuds, headphones, shit like that around?
You have probably about 3 sets of headphones. You've probably got something like this for when you're just enjoying yourself on your computer that you could plug up to a phone if you wanted to, or a computer if you wanted to. And you do have a pair of AirPods, we'll say. But that's like your only pair of Bluetooth in the house.
Okay, I'll hang on to those. I'll set the headphones down and whatnot so other people can use them and continue trying to get those live feeds up.
Okay. So Silvers is doing that. You're registering. What is Rachel doing?
She was in the bathroom taking inventory of the medical supplies that he had, not taking them out,
Right,
but
just
looking
getting them
over-
marked off.
Yes,
as
exactly.
we have this. Okay, gotcha. So we kind of swing into the restroom, and we can see her looking over over everything. And I assume you've probably taken that clipboard that you had with the list of names and apartments to check off, and you've kind of flipped it over to the backside of that paper, re-clipped it to the clipboard, and you're like writing down each individual item that's in the 2 medical kits in the apartment that he has, plus any like basic prescription drugs that he might have in the medicine shelf behind the mirror.
Oh, exactly.
And we see you doing that, and then the camera pulls back and it goes over to Cabby. What's Cabby doing at this moment?
I would be texting back and forth with anyone I can get a hold of from my EMS department, anyone on the fire department, any cops I know, see if anyone has any extra information on what's going on.
Okay. From what you're getting back and forth, and this is over, a few group text threads, a few individual text threads, the information that you're getting is essentially from your EMS contacts and some of your nurse contacts. There was, from all the infected patients that they had and spread out throughout the hospitals here in New York, in downtown New York, there were like mass flatlines in the quarantine ward. People just started flatlining left and right, and then a few moments later they started getting up and attacking people. They don't know why, they don't know what's causing it. They're trying to essentially get to safety. The hospitals are completely overrun with these things, and they've poured out into the streets. And your contacts are saying they're now holed up in various different buildings. One of them's even holed up in a corner store, maybe about 8 blocks from here, and she's worried as all heck because the front of the corner store is just all glass doors and windows, and she's in there with about 12 people, and there's only one gun. From your firefighter contacts, nothing, absolutely nothing. Police contacts, once again, nothing. No responses.
All right. Yeah, so pairing the information I'm getting from the my medical contacts, I'd be getting with Dexter, who was the one who actually saw the thing out in the hallway. Be like, did that thing out there even look like it could be alive?
So Dexter doesn't say anything. He just kind of motions with 4 fingers for Cabby to come into the bedroom with him.
Okay. as you do that is right when you hit the enter button and you finish your registration. And the two of you go over, I'm assuming, into the bedroom at that point. And as soon as you step through the threshold, Cabby, you get a text message from an Officer RuPaul.
Sure.
You check it, it's a video. Yeah, RuPaul Drag Racing. No.
All right.
Video.
As the tradition of DMs
Some
getting
note.
ridiculed for terrible on the fly NPC names continues.
So I'm going to plug one of the sets of headphones into it and put one in my ear, hand one over to Dexter and play.
Okay. You click play, and as the two of you are watching, it's his body cam footage. So it's one of those Axon model body cams with the yellow triangle up in the top right corner with the timestamps, and the timestamp is about an hour ago. And it shows him getting out of the car, responding to let me find the hospital name. Sorry, I forgot it the moment I went to go say it. I think it's the Presbyterian one. I'm trying to find the exact name. For those of you following along on Google Maps. It is the New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital. That's actually where the rubbing alcohol test was. One of the nurses created it at that hospital. So he's responding to a call there of several individuals getting violent with staff and trying to bite them. And him and his partner maybe get 3 feet in the door when they are met with a scene of people rushing down the hall. 2 individuals are fleeing from the individuals rushing towards them. And one of the individuals trips and falls in the hallway, and immediately one of the individuals rushing after them jumps on top of them and starts spewing this black liquid directly into their face, and clawing at their face at the same time, getting the face mask and that like face shield that they have away from their orifices, and then just continuing to spew that black liquid. And that person starts going into seizures while the rest of them start rushing them, or continue to rush them. They let off a couple of shots, and then they just start running. And the video ends there.
Okay, I'm going to pull up my live feed the second that stops, and I'm going to hand him the other AirPod. Connect it to the laptop, pull up the live feed, see what I can see down the hallways on each one of the floors.
Okay. You start going through the floors. It's a similar scene as this floor. So immediately you pull up the 8th floor. All but 3 of the doors are open on this floor. There's blood all in the hallway. There's no bodies. You go down to the 7th floor. Similar scene, but all the doors are open. 6th floor. Similar scene, but there's 3 bodies in the hallway. And it looks like one person had shreds of the clothing on their back and chunks of flesh ripped out of their back, and they're just lying face first in a massive pool of blood on the floor. And the other 2 are kind of face down, halfway visible, looking like they were trying to make it into the stairwell to go downstairs.
Okay, I'm going to pull up...
Just to jump back to clarify something, you said with the body cam footage, these things were running up. My headset cut out. Did you say that they were just like vomiting this black stuff onto people, and those people were then converting?
One of the individuals running away from the violent crowd tripped and fell, and then one of the violent individuals jumped on top of them and started clawing at them to get their face shield and mask out of the way, and then began vomiting into their mouth, nose, and eyes. And then that person started having seizures on the ground.
Okay. So I'm gonna point to the footage in the on the one hallway. You said the guy was laying down on the ground. His back was just like flayed open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make note of the fact that these things, it doesn't seem to be by the actual tearing, but instead the ingestion of this material seems to be the catalyst.
Are there any signs of black stuff around that filleted body?
You're not there.
Oh, damn it. You're
Yeah,
right.
Dexter intentionally pulled the footage and everything that they were going to be watching away from the girls to make sure that it didn't scare them too much. Dexter's going to pull up the 5th floor live cams, and I'm going to try to triangulate where 511 was, where Michael had called me from, and just as a curiosity, make sure that his door is up and secured, and his is one of the ones that has not gone in.
You pull up the 5th floor camera. It's actually relatively clean. It's the cleanest hallway you've seen so far. There's a little bit of blood next to the elevator, and all but 2 doors are open. His door and the door on the other side of the stairs next to him.
Okay, and how about 217 on the 2nd floor?
You jump down to the 2nd floor, and it's clean, empty, no traces of blood that you can see from this view. That door is closed.
Okay, so...
But Michael's is open?
No. His door is closed as well.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And that's specifically why I was looking. I was checking to make sure that Michael's story that he told me on the phone was legit. Which it seems to be, so... Okay, I'm going to start scanning the floors, looking for the black cop that I saw outside the door. And I want to get, if possible, I want to get a good look at him so that Cabby can see what we're dealing with.
Okay. You flip through the floors and eventually you go to the 1st floor, and you can see him on the camera, standing in front of the security office, and he literally has bitten into the security officer and has him like lifted up by the neck a good foot off the ground, and with his hands he is tearing into his stomach.
Jesus.
All right. So that one, and I don't know if you need me to make like a composure roll or anything.
I would actually, at the sight of this, yeah, both of you make me a composure roll.
Real low. Like real fucking low.
Well.
All right. Okay. So, luckily, with our addended rules, for composure rolls, you aren't narrating, your each success or each failure. What it simply is it's just a fail or pass, unless you get a critical 1, in which case you get essentially a better pass. But in this case, you both fail your composure rolls, and both of your psyches are at the moment 1 lower, and you're going to need to, at some point in time, spend at least an hour to either, try and calm yourself down, listen to some music, watch some TV or something that gives you, whatever gives your character a calming feeling. Even if that's meditating, you're going to need to do about an hour of that to get your psyche from where it is currently, 1 lower than it normally is, back up to normal.
All right. Do I got to mark that anywhere?
Go ahead and put that, in the meantime, put it under coping mechanisms under psyche. So take whatever your current morale is from your total box and mark it down in the coping mechanism. Morale equals and then whatever your new number is.
I don't understand. What exactly do you need us to do now?
So both of you failed it. So you both have lost 1 psyche from your total. So go under coping mechanisms in the psyche box and type in morale equals and then whatever your new number is and that's going to stay that way So, for instance, if your psyche's at normally a 5 total, you're going to write morale equals 4. And until you guys take at least an hour of some kind of calming mechanism, your psyche is going to remain at 4.
Okay, so it's just pass or fail. The fact that I have 4 failures there.
Correct. You're not having this particular composure. I'm not going to have you guys narrate down composure. It's just going to be pass or fail, and I'm only gonna charge you 1, morale either time.
I can't argue down a composure. I see some horrible shit on the streets.
But yeah, it's definitely unnerving, the two of you, to see the cop tearing into the security guard like that. And if you continue to watch, he eventually just drops the body and starts walking away.
All right.
So
I'm gonna keep the feed on the body.
Okay.
And just keep watching, see, like, first off, did the thing like vomit in this guy's face?
Make me a spot listen. You can zoom in, but unfortunately the angle is a little difficult from the way that the body is laying. 2 negatives here. I'm not going to give you any real penalties from this. Due to the gruesomeness, due to the pixelation levels at the zoom in that you have to go into to get a clear view of his body, you can't really tell.
All right. So I'm just gonna keep the feed on that and check to see if this guard eventually turns.
Okay.
one of the things that I'm going to be paying attention for, I'm interested to find out after they turn, are they walking paths? I mean, I guess my curiosity is, are they just following noises and sounds, or are they actually walking paths that they did as their former sentient self? You know, are they following walking habits that they were doing? You know, are they patrolling? Are they stopping? Because you said that he was down by the security office, so I would like to know if he just heard somebody down there and reacted to the sound, or if he's habitually walking where he usually goes.
Okay. So you kind of zoom the security camera out, keeping, of course, that security officer still in view. And you kind of watch the officer as he kind of goes up and down the halls kind of aimlessly. Doesn't look like he's really paying attention to anything until you don't know what he reacts to, but he reacts to something towards the front doors of the apartment complex. And he kind of shuffles that way out of view of the camera for a moment. And he stays there for maybe a good 2 minutes before eventually he starts going back into the hallway. And he looks left, he looks right, and he starts going upstairs.
So it appears that he's consciously looking for living people.
Yeah.
All right.
The security officer still hasn't changed. He's not seizing or anything.
So at this point, I am going to, like, what time of day is it at this point?
You're probably looking at it being maybe around 9:15 at night.
Okay. So I am going to mention to Dexter that, you know, we need to have a little bit of a strategy meeting here, but one of the nurses is a little less stable. I vote, you know, we give her the bedroom tonight, and then the other 3 of us will go, you know, discuss everything and get everything, you know, clear between the 3 of us as far as, you know, what we know, what we don't know, what our plan is.
Sure, I've got a spare bed in my second bedroom as well, and the couch pulls out as well. So
This might be a little loud. You hear that from
So-
outside.
So, she was finishing up anyway, and she hears this, and she like goes to find where the other guys are, and she motions for Megan. You know, it's okay. Like, just stay right there. And then she goes to find them, and she's like, "What was that?"
You said that came from outside.
Outside. For you, Dexter, you know that came from probably 6th Avenue, so the opposite direction of the car alarms you heard earlier.
Okay, he will actually mention it sounded like it was maybe 6th Avenue. I don't know. And he'll turn the laptop so that Rachel doesn't see the condition of the outside yet.
I was gonna say I couldn't hear that great. Did that sound like it was an organic sound or?
Yeah, definitely organic, but
Okay.
nothing you would
Sounded-
recognize.
It sounded like,
A fucking pterodactyl.
yeah, or a fucking raptor or something.
All right. So, yeah, I would say like probably wait until like 10, 11 o'clock tonight. The three of us, post up in the living room and, go over everything we know. Well, the other nurse is off in a bedroom somewhere.
Getting sleep, hopefully.
And then
Well, actually,
probably the three of us wind up taking watches.
yeah, I'll actually cue it up like I'm preparing everybody to be able to sleep, and then the three of us will kind of sneak off a little bit and just very quietly in the living room start going over things once she's asleep.
Well, since they weren't able to, respond to my question about what that sound was, she's going to tiptoe over to the window and try to look out the window, like paring back any curtains so that like it's not just full view of her doing this. Like she's just carefully trying to tactfully look through the.
And we've got all lights like very, very dim or off at this point.
Okay. As you kind of begin to peek through the curtains and you take a look down towards the street from what view you can see, that man, by the way, still dead at the trash can, and you can see that there's a car that has like stopped in front of the alleyway. There's blood on the hood of it, and you watch as three figures start darting from left to right past the alleyway.
Heading back towards the sound?
Heading towards it, yeah.
Three figures run past the car towards the sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I able to tell, like, are they bloodied? Are these figures bloodied or anything like that? Or are they, like...
Make me a spot listen.
running like normal people? Hold on.
They're running, and it's not the best angle. Let's see how much you can see. And plus, it's dark. And while you do have the street lights, it's not exactly the greatest situation to be in to spot somebody. Hey! Our first player success. All right. So with that one success, you tiptoe up and you look down there and you can see the car, you can see the dead body that's still in the alleyway, and you begin to see the three individuals running across. They humanoid. They look like they've definitely been in a heavy fight. As you can see, there's clearly signs of blood on their clothing. There's a couple of gashes that haven't had any attempt to be treated at all. And their hands all the way up to their elbows are covered in blood, and one of them has extremely long claws that are maybe about a good 8 inches extending out of their hands. And the three of them just dart past the alleyway.
Like she is so startled, like she can't like even speak really. So she closes the curtain and her hands are shaking and she just backs away from it very quietly, very very slowly, and she tries to go back to the guys and tell them like what she saw.
Claws? That doesn't make any sense. How would a virus make people grow claws?
How does a virus make our things turn black? Like how does blood make freaking alcohol turn black? Like
So, at this point, is the one nurse off in the bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay. So, kind of gathering everyone around.
The live feed is running, and if I can get it to cycle through the floors, I'll get it to cycle through the floors as we're sitting there discussing.
Okay.
Oh,
Just for a note, you don't see the officer on any floor.
probably in the stairwell then. So, this is me speaking in character. Obviously we are in an irrational situation here. At this point, rational thinking might not be the most helpful, as dumb as that sounds. I don't doubt she saw what she saw. After all, we just watched people that are supposed to be dead killing other people.
So, I mean, we're all in agreement. We're dealing with zombies here.
So then you have to think. I don't know how familiar are both of you with movies.
I remember seeing a fucking meme of that shit that the CDC released a couple of years ago about zombies and shit.
All right, so you've got, just to generally classify, you've got a few kinds of zombies. You've got your, classic Romero zombies, which are the slow shuffling ones. Unfortunately, we haven't seen any of those yet, have we?
No, the cop was running full speed down the hallway.
The cop shuffles when he's not alert. When he's alert, he starts running.
Then we've got, and I pull up the text message from the dispatch supervisor. Then we've got the potential rabies zombies, which, while they may not be undead, they tend to be more dangerous when they're up. Hence, and he points to the footage of the zombie sprinting around. After what she saw, we can assume that whatever this is causes some mutations too, most likely making them more dangerous. I don't know what that sound was from outside. Sounded pretty big, though.
They all responded. Well, the three were running towards it. Do you think they all respond to it?
So you're like a queen bee.
And I would like to stay as far away from that as possible. However, we have a bigger problem. Where do we go?
What do you mean, where do we go? We've got everything we need right here.
For how long?
At least 2 months. I mean, 2 months is a long time.
You said it was 2 months for you.
No.
6 months for him.
me.
Oh!
2
okay.
for all of you.
And not to mention the fact we're eventually going to have to go get Michael and Veronica at some point. Michael was the one that called on the phone. He said that he's safe. He said that Veronica in apartment 217 is safe. I think it's going to be better if we're all together. We can loot the shit out of his place. When we pick him up, we can loot the shit out of Veronica's place, bring everything back with us, strength in numbers, kind of shit.
So she's going to look on her charts Like she's gonna flip the paper back over,
Mm.
and she's gonna look at those apartment numbers
Mm.
and check names.
The names match.
Okay.
But you didn't by chance test them, did you?
No.
Started at the top.
Started at the
And
top,
we were-
started working their way down, and they had only just gotten there when they knocked on your door.
So
Plus side, this Michael guy is on the list, and he is at 511, and there is a one at 217.
I got an idea. Let's call Michael and Veronica. We'll walk them through doing the test with a Q-tip. Sound reasonable?
pretty much everyone has rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
And Q-tips. I mean, that's and a container to put it in.
I mean, if they test clean, if what they're reporting back, I mean, surely they don't know about the test. If you all didn't visit their apartment, so if they report back that the color doesn't change or anything, then they remain on the list for us to go and fucking find eventually.
There's two things we need to consider, though.
What's that?
Well, number one, can we outlast these things?
As he says that, all of your attention is gathered to the live stream as it's flipping through the cameras, and it hits the first floor again. And you watch as teenager, maybe in his late teens, with a dark gray hoodie and some ripped up jeans, walks in through the front door covered in blood, and he kind of starts looking around, and he takes his hood and he pulls it down, and you can see his face is normal, and behind him you watch as 6 of the definitely infected individuals walk in through the door behind him. And one of them does have a set of claws. And he walks over towards the front desk in the first floor, and he kind of hops up and he sits on the counter, and he swings one of his legs on the left side of the desk and plops it down on the desk next to the computer, and he lets his other leg just hang loosely or dangle loosely off the other side, and he picks up the landline phone that's next to the computer screen, and he starts dialing on it for a few seconds, and the camera shifts from the front door entrance camera to the full hallway shotgun entrance camera, and you can see just barely in the corner above the dead security guard that's still sitting there, the flashing red light of the security office's phone on the wall ringing, and it stops ringing for a second. And the camera shifts to the second floor.
Okay, we'll go back.
Okay. Do you go back to the hallway floor camera or the entrance camera?
We'll go back to the hallway camera.
Okay. You go back to the hallway camera.
Okay, if we don't see anything immediately, go to the front door.
You go to the front door camera, or I should say entrance hall camera. He's still sitting there, and he's kind of bopping his head. Do you have sound on any headphones on this one?
Yeah, we're looking on the laptop. I had earbuds, and one is in my ear, the other one is in Cabby's ear.
Whenever the camera is looking at him and the 6 infected individuals with him, you can hear Mr. Blue Sky playing from what sounds like a phone on Spotify in his pocket. And it's just looping on repeat as he is going through numbers, holding the phone up to his ear for a moment, hanging the phone up, picking it back up, repeating. He stops after he picks up the phone another time, and he's dialed a number, and you can't hear it because it's too low and the music is kind of muffling what he's saying, but he starts talking to someone. And then he just loosely with his right hand, which is unoccupied, he motions with 2 fingers towards the stairs, and you watch as the one with claws and one of the other ones start running up the stairs.
So I can see it. I can't hear it, but I can see it.
Mhm.
And she covers her mouth and she looks at him with wide eyes, like, what the fuck?
So Dexter kind of looks over at the other 2 and whispers exceptionally low, but he whispers they're calling to see who picks up and sending those monsters after him.
I would say first
Says-
one, check hallway on level 2, was it?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
You check the hallway on level 2, nothing.
All right, flip to 5.
You flip to 5, and you watch as the 2 creatures come up onto the 5th floor and then stop, and then slow down as they approach the door. And they kind of just stand there, and you watch as the one with claws taps on the door, and then they move out of the way of the peephole. And then you watch as his door opens, and they run inside.
This is 511?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to walk over, like, very gently, pick up the phone, and dial 217.
Okay.
The Veronica's phone.
You start dialing it, and it rings for a while, and then eventually it stops ringing, and so no one picks up.
Okay. All right, I just hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's still on silent.
Still on Do Not Disturb. And
So when they dial the number, is it going to come up that we aren't receiving calls, or is it going to come up and act like it's ringing but just not answer?
if someone doesn't answer it, it'll tell you, it'll have like a very short verbal message that no one is picking up the phone, and then it'll just cut.
No, he means like if someone calls us while it's
Mhm.
on D&D, like, is it going to be...
Is it going to tell them that it's on D&D?
No, what it'll do is it'll act like it's ringing, and then it'll give them that short message.
No one is available?
No one's available at this time. Yeah.
And the
Okay.
message is the same whether we were to actually pick up on or whether we were to let it ring, not on D&D versus on
Correct.
D&D.
Because
Okay.
technically it's still ringing. It's just it blinks a red light when it's on Do Not Disturb instead of making noise.
Okay, were the other phones in the apartment ringing, like, audibly?
Not on the 8th floor. And when you switched to the 5th floor, you didn't hear any ringing, but you did see his door open.
Okay.
And as the camera's still on the 5th floor, you watch as they start dragging him out of the room, still kicking and screaming. He doesn't look like he has any liquid on him.
All right. At that point, I am going to flip the camera back down to the 1st floor.
You watch as the others kind of just stand there, and the one that looks like a teenager is kind of just playing with his hair, playing with his nails, and kind of looks up, and you can eventually hear the sound of the yelling of your neighbor coming from the stairwell, and you watch as they drag him out of the stairwell and into the lobby. And unfortunately, you don't hear the quiet exchange that the two of them have because, well, you hear that your neighbor says, "Fuck you." But you don't hear the other side of the conversation because Mr. Blue Sky is louder than he's being audible when he leans down to talk to him for a minute. And then they just walk out, still dragging him out the door.
All of them walk out together?
All of them walk out together. And it particularly feels like the 6 are following him.
Okay, we're going to flip to the front of the building, the exterior cams.
You flip to the exterior cam at the front of the building, and there are cars that have cracked windshields, and it looks like one car is on fire, or at least smoking. There looks like a pair of cars crashed in the streets, and you pick up as they're coming through the front door, and they start dragging him off in the direction of 6th Avenue.
The direction that the sound came from.
Mm-hmm.
So, describe more about the teenager versus the others. The others, did they look feral? Like
Sort of, yeah.
demons? Or
not like demons, but just like they look human, absolutely. But they, the only one that has anything that's super unique is the one with the claws. But the rest of them look like your average normal day humans. It's a mix of men and women. It's not an equal mix. Most of them are men. Then there's 2 of them that are women, and each of them has like black liquid that's like caked and covering their face. That's kind of been wiped off, or I should say smeared off at this point. And several lacerations either on the face or the neck or the chest, and torn clothing. And the one with claws has about 8-inch claws that are jet black, as it's just walking with the group.
and the teenager didn't appear to have any type of damage to its face, or
Other than being covered in blood, he looks totally normal. His clothes aren't ripped. He's just got, he's covered in blood, and you know, his hair is a little messy at the most, and that's about it.
and he seems perfectly calm.
Yeah, and you watch as they're beginning to go down that street. Before they get to the edge of the camera view, he flips his hoodie back up.
He's covered in blood too, right?
Mhm.
He was covered in blood as well.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have any of the cuts on him. Does he have any of the black stuff on his face?
Not from what you saw, no.
And nothing odd about his eyes or his bone structure, nothing out of the ordinary at all.
Not from the camera footage that you can see. You'd probably have to get a better look in person.
I mean, this is just me, but if I had to pick a patient 0, that would be it.
And his ringtone was Mr. Blue Sky.
No, it didn't sound
This
like
is-
a rings tone. It sounded like he had it on his phone was on Spotify, and he just had Mr. Blue Sky on repeat.
You know what?
Rachel's pretty much shaken at this point. Like she's fucking shaking.
I have a plan for later. Absolute worst case scenario, I want to download Mr. Blue Sky on my phone.
Interesting. Okay. So you go ahead and you download Mr. Blue Sky onto your phone, and as we watch Cabby hit the download button, whether it be on Spotify or Pandora or whatever he's using, we cut for our last break, and we will be right back with more Here We Are Year Zero. See you soon, folks. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Here We Are Year Zero, Episode 1. All right, we come back into the scene as the three of you are staring at a now desolate street of 21st Street West, downtown New York.
That's on the feed, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not throwing you out there. No. It's on the laptop feed.
I'm going to check floor number 2, Veronica's room again, and just make sure that the door is still secured.
It's still closed.
Still closed. Okay. No blood outside.
No blood outside our door. Yeah. You still haven't seen the black officer.
See, I'm slightly more concerned about the fact that A, we've never talked to Veronica. And B, they took what's-his-face alive.
Yes.
I headed off towards where the crazy big sound came from.
So there's obviously some form of conspiracy intermingled with whatever the fuck is going on with the virus.
So I'm ignoring the chicken to whatever. I'm a cruel, heartless bastard, but hopefully I would survive.
I believe our set of room was 217.
I can tell you. Hold on. Yeah, it's 217. Oh. She just like hugs her knees or whatever. She's straight up scared of her fucking mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dexter is going to go up to each one of the walls on both sides of the apartment and also to the door, and he's going to put his ear up against it and listen, see if he can hear anything. Also checking on the cameras, we're going to really take a really close look, all angles we can, at the floor that we are on.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are any feeds of the stairwells, we'll check those out too.
Okay. Now I should mention this because I think I forgot to mention it for our audience. But of course, the players can see that it's winter on Roll20. It is mid-December right now, and you begin to hear the light sound of rain and sleet beginning to pour outside.
Okay.
So sorry, you're checking the peephole and the hallway cam.
Yeah, I'm checking the peephole, listening around the sides of into the apartments next to us. Just stick my ear against the door or against the wall, checking the feeds from all angles of our floor and the stairwells, trying to locate that fucking cop.
Now, unfortunately, with the cameras that are inside and with the ones that they give you availability to here on the site, you only get that shotgun view of each hallway. You don't get camera feeds in the stairwells, even though there's cameras in the stairwells. That's probably reserved for the security office. And on your floor, bloody but clear, you don't see anything moving around or anything like that.
When the camera was out to the street, is the ambulance still there? And
ambulance and the white van are still there. There's a little bit of a smear of blood on the front of the white van that you came in, and you can see that the trunk of the cop car has been busted open, and it looks like it's been looted And there's like a scattering of some like zip tie handcuffs and some evidence bags and a road cone and a few other objects here and there that are like scattered at the back end of it. And the passenger window is busted open, and it looks like, from what you can see, somebody might have ripped out the radio.
Okay, I'm going to get a little tricky here. When I log into the system, the camera system, does it tell me the name of the system that they're using for security?
Give me 1 second here.
Like the website might have a powered by and the manufacturer name or the device name.
It says powered by P2R4.
Okay, so I'm going to do a Google search for P2R4 and see if I can find the specifications on the device. See if there are any default admin passwords. I'm going to see if I can hack into this thing and get more live feeds.
Okay, so there's what you're basically brought to when you go to P2R4's site. It's like a general security and alarm system company. Mm-hmm. There's a login for employees, and it's just like a bunch of images that kind of scroll on their main page of essentially, some of their workers like out installing systems and happy families with coffee, with cups of coffee. And there's like one image is a burglar being spooked by an alarm outside of a store. So in order to try and hack into this thing, I would like you to go ahead and attempt to make me a... Let's see here.
So
digital systems.
Okay, I will do that, absolutely. What I'm looking at right now is more of like a social engineering perspective on this. I would like to see if I can find the user guide or the installation guide on the device and find out what the default password is, or the default admin ID and password is, to actually configure the device, because more often than not, people that install this shit never delete the admin account.
Right.
And it's defaulted to the past, so that's what I try first.
Right. So, unfortunately, on the main site, it's just got like these slideshow photos, which like scrolls down to another photo of like two computer technicians behind a computer, and it's got like this paragraph and a half long thing of like about us, and then it has a contact us page, and it asks for your email, name, apartment number if you have one, and to send them an email.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the roll real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is Digital Systems.
Digital Systems. Here we go. And this is actually a pretty decent roll for you, I believe.
I gotta get below a 48, so
yeah.
It's a coin toss.
3 successes. I would like you to describe to me. Now, one success is going to be you hack into the system and you're able to pull up information. What would you like to do with your additional 2 successes?
So not just pulling up information. I want to try the security guard's badge number as the password, if I can, and see if I can get access to more of the feeds and the stairwells, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I want to find out.
That's your second success. You get that.
Okay, and the third, I would like to use to find out whether or not I can remote control any door locks in the building.
Yes. So this place you can control the side entrance locks, you can control the front entrance lock, and you can also control the front entrance gate, because there is a gate just behind the glass windows of the front door that you can lower, and it's like that see-through grated gate.
Like
All right,
for shop
awesome.
stuff like that,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Like,
Dexter looks back at the other two with a smile and basically says, I can almost lock this entire place down.
So, Aaron, I have I'm sorry, I have a question about gameplay. So with Cabby's 3 failures, you said that we could basically take one of those failures or 2 of those failures and give them to you.
Correct.
To use at a later time for making something, have you to have fun. So if we have like an overabundance of successes, are we also able to bank those essentially?
You are able to bank those for survival points, but that's not in every case. That's only under certain roles. So general, let me see here. It's whenever you make a basic skill check, or a trained skill check, any additional successes you get, you can bank for a 1-for-1 value for a survival point, which you can use later on to do things like if you go into a store, and let's say you go into a convenience store and you want to pull a bunch of stuff out, essentially you trade in some survival points that you have, and you are able to successfully get that stuff. Speaking of which, I forgot something, which I'm glad that you brought that up, because that reminds me that we forgot to do the competency points generation for each character at the beginning of the game. So for now, what I'm going to say is everyone has 30 competency points. We'll do the actual calculation and everything at the start of next game. And competency points, you can spend up to 3 competency points in action, and each competency point you spend it's like the equivalent of spending a willpower in the Vampire the Masquerade system. You get a automatic 1 success from spending competency points. I apologize that completely went out my brain hole.
It's okay. It's the first game and lots of things are happening and stuff like that. So I just wasn't sure if like we could also bank some of our successes if we didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like if the situation didn't, necessarily call for us to have all of those, if we could kind of be like, put those in our pocket or something.
And survival points are character based, by the way. Your grand total as all of the characters goes into a grand pool, but so for instance, with Dexter's 3 successes here, if he had just taken the 1 success to get that admin access, and then he banked those 2 successes as 2 survival points, his character would have 2 survival points, and the group would have 2 to spend, and you would be spending him if you spent them. However, the major thing about that is, let's say Dexter has 50 competency points, Rachel has 25, right? So you have 75 competency points total. If Dexter dies, you automatically lose his 50.
Ooh.
And you go down to your 25 and whatever Cabby's is. Why did I say competency? I meant survival.
So even if he banks them, we don't get the benefit if he should
die, you lose the benefit of what his point total was.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Now, in order to stop that from happening where you lose that, what you can do is once you have officially declared an area your stronghold, and you've begun to make significant upgrades to its defenses, you can then start banking survival points at your stronghold so you won't lose them.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Aaron, the first thing that I'm going to do, having gained some administrative access to the system, is I'm going to change the administrative password so that somebody else can't come in and do the same thing that I just did.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start checking the other camera feeds immediately. we'll write down the list of doors on the building that we have the ability to lock.
Mhm.
And what I would like to do is start making a list of all the doors that are not remotely lockable, so that we could potentially lock the building down.
Okay.
If we need to.
You have a total of 3 doors: the front door, one side door that leads out towards 7th Avenue, and then a alley door that's in the back of the building. And then beyond that, of course, you have the gate at the front door. And the side door and the back door for the alleyway are both steel doors.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and you said the alleyway door is the back door. Where does the side door lead to in the alley?
The side door leads into, like, it leads next to 7th Avenue, which is on your left-hand side from the apartment, away from the monstrous sounds you heard earlier.
Okay, if those doors are closed currently, the alley door and the side door, I'm going to go ahead and lock those now remotely.
Okay.
From the system. And then I start scanning through feeds immediately looking for the cop.
Okay. So you start scanning through all the cameras. You go through all the stairwell cameras. He's not in the building.
It's not in the building. Good.
Well, not in the building unless he's in an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. So Dexter will look back at the other two and he'll say, there's a girl by herself down on 2. I don't see any of these creatures. We could potentially lock the front. I think personally it will look suspicious as fuck if they ever come back by and everything is locked down suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that we leave the gate how it is for now until we can effectively defend this place, but we need to go down and get that girl.
And by the way, this is your personal knowledge, Dexter. You know that side door that leads to 7th Avenue comes out right next to a Trader Joe's.
Oh, I'll mention that. I'll say we need to get the girl. It's the right thing to do. And that side door down there that I can lock and unlock remotely, right next door to us is a Trader Joe's. So all the fucking supplies we could ever need, provided it hasn't been raided.
So, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You want us to go all the way down to the 2nd floor for a girl that we don't know if she's all right or not, because we haven't talked with her. We just know from word of mouth that she's there. Have we tried calling her? I mean, has anybody?
Yeah, I tried calling her room number, but she didn't answer. Michael confirmed that she was alive. He confirmed that she picked up the phone. So if we go down there and we can get her back up here, we're one person stronger, and we've just saved the life of somebody that could potentially be, with us on this thing.
With your administrative access and the additional cameras that you now have, you get the rooftop access cameras where the pool is, where all of the chairs are and the dining tables. It's basically like a rooftop relaxation area. Nothing's up there. And you also get a view of the 7th floor gym, which has all the gym equipment like exercise bikes and treadmills and weights and stuff. It's empty as well.
Okay, awesome.
I look between the two and I'm just kind of like, can we at least make sure she's there? And can we at least make sure she's not infected?
I mean, I can try calling her again. Short of that, I mean, we'd have to go down there to find out if she's still alive.
The basement camera comes on and finally flicks through the feed. And the basement camera is essentially like about 15 washing machines, 20 dryers, and a few other appliances here and there. And as it flips to that camera, you see the officer. He's standing in the center of the room next to the white table that's down there. And he's staring at washing machine number 10 because it's got a load in there.
Okay, so he's just standing there staring at it. So
He's just
obviously
staring at it.
he recognizes that it's not. So these things can think. I mean, they know the difference between motion and static motion and someone
think
moving, a person.
I think they're just drawn to motion in general.
Is there a way that we could lock him down there?
You'd probably have to get the either security officer's keys or the front desk person's keys. And you don't know where the front desk person is. You know where the security officer is. He's still dead on the floor.
Let's remember, he's not necessarily the only one here either.
No, I'm aware of that.
Because there is bare minimum 2 more.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. The front door not only has the gate, it's also an airlock door. So essentially you have the big double doors, gate, then tiny hallway, double doors. But you can only lock the outer double doors and lower the gate.
As they're talking about the potential threats from these things, she goes, didn't they go into the elevator too? Wasn't there some sort of rush or something like that? I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye into the elevator. So we don't even know what's in the elevator.
Can we flip through and see if there's an elevator camera?
There are 2 elevators, and there's 2 elevator cameras. There's a whole lot of blood in the first elevator, no bodies. Second elevator's clean.
I would just feel better if I knew she was even there, and if she was clean before we take this huge risk.
All right. I'm going to try calling her number. We flip the cameras down to the second floor, and we're going to turn the volume all the way up, assuming they have audio feed. We're going to turn the volume into the AirPods, obviously, all the way up so that we can hear as much as possible. And I'm going to dial that number down. If I actually hear an audible ring when I dial from her apartment, I'm going to hang up immediately.
Okay. So you turn the volume up, you grab your landline, you dial her apartment number, you listen, and you don't hear ringing, but you hear ringing on your phone.
Okay,
and
so
on the 5th ring, you finally hear, hello?
This is Veronica.
Who's this?
I'm your neighbor. I'm up on the 8th floor. This is a female voice, right?
No.
Okay, I wouldn't have said that I'm up on the 8th floor in that case.
Okay. He says, Dexter?
That's right.
Okay. This is Michael, Veronica's boyfriend. Veronica's asleep right now.
How are you guys doing down there?
Well, we're doing all right, but we've heard some fucked up shit outside. We logged in maybe about 10 minutes ago to the building security cams, but we've only got the hallway access and access to the entrance and the outside one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Wait, I'm sorry.
We've got a pistol, but go ahead.
Sorry, clarity. On the 5th floor was a Michael, and Veronica's boyfriend is Michael as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Have I ever seen Veronica?
You have. She's slim, jet black hair, kind of goes down to about her cheek, and then it's cut evenly around. Oftentimes wears a little bit of makeup, with usually black or red lipsticks or lipstick. She's like a 6, you'd say, in your book. She usually likes to wear sweatpants and a hoodie, unless she's going to work. And you've only seen her going to work once, and she was in a a tux when she went to work that one time that you saw her.
So I'd like to apologize to the other players in the audience that Dexter is obviously a serious creeper.
No, this is just like the times that you've run into her on the elevator.
I gotcha. Just fooling around.
So while he's doing this, I can't believe I didn't think of this before. I want to go see if I can pull up a live feed of like Times Square, for example.
Absolutely, yeah. You go over and you go over to the other live feed, and that feed has been like running what the news has been putting out, and right now the news is, this is before you change it over if you decide to. It's still on ABC News. They're showing like mass riots in Atlanta. Several officers being attacked and some even being killed. National Guard completely locking down Atlanta at this time, and
like what I'm actually looking for is like so like I can go on YouTube and find traffic cam footage.
Yeah, I know what you were looking for. I'm just telling you what was on the screen as you approached it to go change it. But yeah, if you decide to change it, it's already on YouTube. It's using the ABC News live feed stream. You go over, you type in New York City, Times Square live, and you hit enter. And of course, you run up the usual like 6 that are totally fake live streams where they're technically live streaming, but they're live streaming from like last month's footage. Right. And then you finally get to one that looks like it might be legit because you're seeing the area looks a little bit more damaged. But you go on to that one and you can see right there where you have that like curled screen that Good Morning America broadcasts out of, that studio. The windows are busted in and there's a bunch of equipment that's like outside the windows, and you can see smoke coming from out of that building. The screens look mostly busted. There are several cop cars that are like scattered about, and some of them are flipped over on their side. Others just have their windows busted in. It looks like they've all been looted. There are those plastic barriers that are around where they look a little bit like the concrete barriers, but they're made out of like just heavy plastic with sand filled in them usually. And lots of shell casings, patches of blood here and there, and there's maybe about 14 people all in police uniform that are kind of talking and with what looks like a National Guard Humvee at the moment.
Okay, so there is actual military presence in the city. I'm just going to start doing the same thing for major cities around the country.
Okay.
Obviously,
give me a list of the first 5 that you want to go through.
I definitely want to check Atlanta.
All the Atlanta streams are down.
Right.
And there are like short videos of like the last few minutes before the stream's cut. If you click on one of those, you see absolute mass chaos, military also, actively fighting in the streets along with police forces, and then just getting overrun and killed. And then the stream's cut as like the last few are fighting to survive.
All right. DC?
Totally fine.
All right. Say LA, West Coast?
LA is totally fine.
Houston,
Totally fine.
and what's between us and DC?
Better question: what's between us and Africa? Because this originated in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly. So what? I mean, I'm sure that there are fucking ships that come up from Africa to here, and
Mhm.
Into the New York Harbor, and
Yep.
International flights and all that kind of shit. So
Yep. I think they go to the oh god, what is it called? Where's the harbor? I want to say they go towards Industrial City, is where the commercial ships come in,
So
which is
did-
over on the Brooklyn side.
All
did
right,
the
so I
live
got- I
feed
got-
for Atlanta go out on the timestamp wise? Did the live feeds go out before New York got hit?
20 minutes before.
20 minutes. Damn.
So, my last two I want to check. When Dex mentions Africa, I would want to check, feed from Cairo.
There are currently no live stream feeds from Cairo. However, there are several recent news reports, videos that kind of show up that show like mass rioting, shots fired, confirmed presence of IS.
All right, and then last one.
IS.
IS is ISIS.
Gotcha.
And then last one. I would check something from Jersey.
Jersey. Jersey. Let me see here. You probably get a live stream from.
Hell, I'd even take Boston, honestly.
Okay, Boston. Hold on. Yeah, Boston is having issues, but they aren't overrun.
Okay. All right. So obviously, what we've got is multiple points of outbreak here,
Mhm.
which means it's not. How do I put it?
Would you
don't
have
get
closed
that
the
many-
ABC tab, or would you have?
I probably would have just clicked to a different tab.
Okay, fantastic. The title on the ABC tab changes.
All right, I click back to it.
Okay. It's no longer ABC that's broadcasting. It's now a live White House map. And it shows New York State in red. It shows Georgia in red. And Florida in black.
Of course,
And
Florida's black.
yeah.
Jesus.
It shows North Carolina in yellow.
All right. So it is significantly worse on the northeast coast and the southeast coast. The middle is, well, middling.
Mhm.
So this is not, just from what I know about viruses don't evolve along the same path in multiple places.
The map then switches to global. Africa's black, Europe is black, Asia is yellow. The Middle East is green.
Okay, so black. What is the key in the bottom of the map say that black is?
No response from government or civilian channels.
0 for the entire continent.
So everywhere from Portugal all the way up to half of Ukraine is blacked out.
Oh my god.
Norway, Sweden, and Finland are green. Russia is yellow. The Middle East is green. India, green. China, yellow. South Korea, green. North Korea, black. Japan, green. Philippines, green. Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea, green. Australia, red. New Zealand, green.
Does it appear that the majority of the colder climate countries are all green?
Yeah, actually, because you also see Greenland and Iceland, both green.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I wonder if the climate in the country has anything to do
They're
with it.
also less populated.
Yeah. I should also mention South America is green.
So,
However, Antarctica is black.
I would hope Antarctica is black.
North Pole yellow.
There isn't any indigenous population in
Correct.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
There are
There
people living
are
there.
people working there though.
Yes.
Right. And you see that North Pole is yellow.
So, the thing I was getting at here was that you don't just get that specific of convergent mutation across that big of an area over, what, a few hours?
Mhm.
So
So you're saying that someone is spreading this from different points?
and
Well, here from you guys' knowledge of the events that have happened over the last 7 days. So 7 days ago, Lake Kivu exploded. That's when all this happened. That's when all this started, right? When it exploded, and for those of you who don't know, Lake Kivu is like 40% in Rwanda, and the rest of it is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. When it exploded, there was a huge noxious gas trail that came off the lake and started heading north, and it spread out and it covered a good portion of like northwestern Africa, and then finally the cloud dissipated in like the Gibraltar, Malaga area of Spain. And a bunch of cases started popping up in Africa and then in Spain, and then that spread from Spain into the rest of Europe.
okay, so this has been happening for just a week then?
Just the sickness symptoms, none of the deaths, none of the aggravated violence, none of that.
Okay. That actually changes my thought process here then. So in which case, what we are seeing is this is the full course of this virus running. That this is where it eventually ends up in a certain percentage of cases. And things like the mutated ones are, to some degree, just another end. However, that kid that was down there, whether he's immune or whether he's another mutation, is something that we kind of need to be concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're on the phone with this guy, right?
Yeah.
Dexter was going to be mindful going into it that that he not necessarily give away who it is. So I guess my question is, have I ever met her boyfriend before?
You've met him once. He came off as like an all right guy, and you basically met him in the middle of Trader Joe's when you were out there one day. And he kind of dresses similarly like her. However, you see him go to work more often, and his work clothes kind of represent that he's more than likely a construction handyman. You're not sure if he works construction sites or if he does like plumbing or something like that. You're not entirely sure.
Okay. Okay. Dexter's going to throw out a question there, and I'm specifically looking for kind of. I'm looking for confirmation that this is actually him. Okay. I'll ask him. I'll throw out a question that's phrased like, "So, when did you guys first hear about this? Were you on your way home from work or what?" And see if he elaborates a little bit about anything that will allow me to confirm that he is who he's saying he is.
He says, "No. I had the day off from the site, so I didn't go in today."
Okay. I want to let you know that that answering the phone like this is probably fairly dangerous. So we're going to set something up here. If I ever need to talk to you, I'm going to call. Leave your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Okay. Yeah, it's already on that.
All right. I'm going to let it ring 4 times, and then I'm going to hang up. If you see it ring 4 times and hang up, call me back. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And you do the same for me. If you need me, you call me 4, let it ring 4 times, exactly 4, not 3 or 5, 4. Okay. And if I see it ring 4 times and you hang up, I'll give you a call back. But if your phone rings, any other number of rings, do not pick it up.
All right. I'll write a note and stick it up next to the phone, so in case I'm asleep when Veronica gets up, she gets that message too.
Thou shalt not count to 5.
Exactly. 6 is right out.
I'm so sorry. I haven't even asked. Are you okay?
Yeah, we're. I'm doing fine. I don't say we. I say yeah. I'm doing fine. I think that we need to get ourselves together. I'm thinking strength in numbers. Okay. You mentioned that you all have a pistol. Do you have anything else?
Some climbing gear from when we go up to Snow Peak.
Okay. Okay. How's your food situation looking?
With the 2 of us, I don't know, maybe a week. But there's a Trader Joe's right around the corner, and I was debating, waiting until dawn when I had some, good sunlight and could have a clear field of view to maybe finally test peeking out.
Let's hold on that for now, okay? We'll come up with a plan. We need to find out whether or not these fuckers are moving in the daylight or if they're just moving at night. We don't know the situation yet, so let's find out what that is first.
Okay.
And don't do anything rash. Let's talk, okay? Let's have a little bit of open communication between us.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll put together a plan together.
Rachel writes on a piece of paper, test.
Okay. Dexter just shrugs at her.
Infected? Like she writes infected ? Test and underlines it several times.
So he nods and he says, "Hey, Mike, I need you to do something for me real quick.
Yeah, sure thing.
I need you to get a Q-tip and some alcohol. You'll have some rubbing alcohol, right?
Yeah, we got about half a bottle. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Hold on, let me check something. And you can hear him kind of shuffling in the background.
Okay.
He says, "Hey, the cell phones still work. What's your number? Instead of calling each other on these, we can text each other at least while the phone lines are still up. You know, I still got bars."
I don't know what my number is off the top of my head. I don't call myself. Let's do this real quick first.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor, grab some Q-tips and some alcohol.
Okay, 1 second.
And
you can hear him like walk into the bathroom. You know that like the floor plan is similar, which with each of the apartments as yours, and you can hear him walk into the bathroom and shuffling things around. And he says, "All right, Q-tip. I've got like my, rinsing glass."
All right, and I kind of explained to him what I saw the nurses do. Okay. Use the Q-tip to swab on the inside of your nose. You got to get it in there deep.
Oh yeah. This is the thing that they were like mentioning on the news yesterday.
Did they mention it?
Yeah. They said something about swabbing your nose and then checking it with rubbing alcohol, didn't they? Yeah. But what if I'm asymptomatic? When I need to do blood, I don't have anything to draw blood, and I guess I could cut myself, but that might hurt. Give me a second.
Pinprick, maybe?
Yeah. I've got some push pins. Hey, while I'm doing this, go ahead and get your phone. Figure out what the number is. I'll make a video of me doing it. That way, I can't just send you a picture of clear liquid.
All right, cool. So,
yeah. What's up?
I'm gonna put him on mute, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna look back at the other two, and he wants our cell phone number.
Okay.
I'm thinking this guy's legit, but I don't know for sure.
Well, I mean, give him. What's the harm in giving him the number? Like, it's not.
I mean, can't they like track the location of cell phones and shit? Isn't that a thing?
But you have to be like on the plan or something like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I just know that you have to have sort of like security clearance or something like that with the government or whatever.
No, you don't need anything like that.
So Dexter, you have you have like a 48 in digital systems. I'll say, yeah, you know that.
Okay. So you're saying that they wouldn't be able to track the number or anything like that?
They'd be able to track the number, like by going to a site and paying like $5. They could track the number.
Okay. So he could potentially track the location of the number. I would assume that he could get, with the size of the building, he could potentially get the location, generally speaking. But
I mean, he could get the column you're on.
So no harm in doing this, you guys think?
And plus, he can send the video.
Okay.
Well, what Rachel would say is like, she would shrug and just be like, give it to him. Like, because she doesn't think there's any harm in the cell phone itself.
Okay. We'll give him the number.
Okay. You give him the number. He says, okay. Give me a few minutes. I'll wake her up and we'll both do the test and I'll send you a video, okay?
Okay. Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Don't forget, 4 rings.
Yeah. Or I'll just text you.
Okay.
Whichever's, as long as we got service, might as well use it. He says, okay, bye.
All right, bye.
And he hangs up.
All right, I'll hang up as well. Dexter will turn back to the others and say, they did mention on the news that if you're asymptomatic, you have to do like a draw blood test and test that way. So we've done the swab. I think that all of us need to do the blood test as well.
Oh, I did the blood test on myself.
Okay. I just got swabbed, so can you all draw some
Yeah.
blood? And
Yeah, so Rachel will go through the whole thing, and
everybody in the room.
yeah, everybody in the room, even Cabby, that's like, no, I'm fine. She's just gonna look at him and be like, we're doing it again. So,
Do you guys let the other nurse know?
and I'm sure she's not asleep yet, but whatever.
No, you like find her with she's like her eyes are still open and she's just laying there.
I'm gonna try to make sure she's all right and just be like, hey, are you doing all right in here? Like,
Yeah. I'm doing better. I'm, I was a little shaken up, but I'm doing better. Yeah.
okay. Well, do you want to join us? And now that you're better, and you can make sure. I mean, you just have to be kind of quiet and stuff. And
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. I'll come out. And she gets up. She makes her way into the living room. So sorry, we're doing the asymptomatic test. Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. And she looks over at you, Cabby, and she's go into the bag and there's there should be vials for drawing blood and disposable needles.
Oh, I just pull out a few IV kits out of my pockets.
Oh, that'll work. Yeah. And over about the next minute, you guys go ahead and do the tests. And luckily, all of you come up in the clear.
Okay, cool. Aaron, next thing that Dexter's going to do, he's going to get in his clothes and he's going to try to find warm clothes enough for everybody. Just in case we need to leave in a hurry. I think it's, and he'll tell the rest of them this, just in case we have a need to leave in a hurry, it is fucking cold outside, and the wind chill is enough to put you in hypothermia. If you're out in it long enough, I say that we get warm and we be ready to head out the door if we need to head out the door.
One small detail I forgot about the area you're in. You also know that there's a cemetery right next to the apartment building. I didn't realize that until I went around the corner. It's a very small one though.
So there aren't any reports of existing dead coming back, is there?
No, not from what you guys have seen
Hell,
so
even
far.
the alive ones. The thing that we're gonna have to figure out is, are they dead or are they just rabid, essentially? I mean, we did watch one fall out of a window and it got up and walked away. So are they just really, really tough to kill? Or are they actually, already dead?
I would say that we need to side with caution here and just make fucking sure. I'm gonna make the assumption that a frying pan to the side of the head isn't gonna take one of these things down.
Well,
Know what
no,
I'm saying?
the reason I was mentioning that was because then you start getting into, can we outlast them? Because if they're just rabid, they'll run out of food. If they're actually dead,
they'll rot within what, 3 months?
You hope.
Everybody make me a spot listen check. If you fail, you just fail and you don't notice it. No horrible repercussions here.
Boom!
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So Rachel, you fail. The other nurse fails, but Dexter and Cabby, you both notice out of the corner of your eyes movement on the live stream of the cameras in the building. And when it goes to the external camera, the two of you see as a person is looking around and he's next to one of the windows with a cracked car across the street, and he looks back behind him towards the building across the street, which is a Sherwin-Williams paint shop, and you can see one of the windows is busted out, and he walks into it.
This is a living person. Does he have any
Looks living.
black shit all over his face? Any wounds?
Not from what you can say, no.
How old does he appear?
Probably in his early 30s.
Okay. Any similarities at all to the kid that we saw earlier?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
This guy he's in his early 30s. He's wearing khaki pants and a button-up shirt. The button-up shirt's a little torn at sort of like the collar, but you don't see any blood on him. And he's got a small backpack on his back, and he's also got what looks like a pistol in his hand as he's walking in through the broken glass window of the Sherwin-Williams paints.
Okay, Dexter will point at the screen and say, who the fuck goes into Sherwin-Williams? What would you possibly need in there? Nobody would even consider going in there. I mean, on the scale of friend or foe, I mean, this guy seems pretty fucking nonchalant, don't you think?
I have no idea. He has a gun though.
Can we see any infected on the cameras with him?
No.
You know, there's another question that we haven't been asking. How many millions of people live in this city?
Isn't it 2 or 3? 2 or 3 mil?
And there's an empty street.
Last census I saw, no, it was more like 10 million.
My statement stands. There's an empty street.
As of 2019, 8.419 million.
Yeah, so I rounded up on that since it's 2023.
Yeah, so I'd say 2023. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, Dexter
How
says last
far are we
census I
from the
saw
nearest
10 million.
hospital?
From the nearest hospital, give me a second here. From the nearest one, with back out
I will
of this.
take nearest hospital, police station, fire department, walk-in clinic even.
Mark that. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Click there. Thank you. Ping this location. That would be nice. Tag it. Hospital. The nearest one is New York City Health and Hospitals Bellevue. It's about 1.6 miles away. So about 7 minutes by car, 14 minutes walking.
Okay. Ballpark blocks.
Ballpark blocks would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 blocks.
Okay, so we are 8 blocks from a hospital.
Okay.
There are 10 million people in this city. And I pull up the live feed from the traffic cams in Times Square.
Mm-hmm. It's emptied out at this point.
Okay, so there's no one there. There's no one where we're at. Where the hell is everyone? You would think if they were all turned, they would be out in the streets.
No, remember the EMS thing over the phone? It said to stay inside and just hunker down and stuff.
Yeah, you guys got the essential equivalent of like either a tornado warning or Amber Alert that came from the National Guard that said to shelter in place.
Right.
And as you guys are watching the live stream, you see a Humvee with a 50 on top rip through Central, and the turrets turn behind it and it's just letting off with the 50.
And what's it letting off at?
You don't see. And it disappears out of view. About, if you watch it long enough, about 5 minutes later, good 40 infected-looking individuals come into view, and like 3 of them look like they've been cut in half from the waist down.
All right.
So are we talking about a group of 40 or 50?
Mm-hmm. And they're just walking casually in the direction of where the Humvee tore off to.
So they're grouping. They're herding.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
So the thing that I was mentioning was that these things seem to have no problem with doors, right?
That's been left to see because your
Take
experience
down your standard apartment door.
potentially.
Mm-hmm. Halfway through the crowd moving through Central, the ones that are ripped in half stop moving and die. The rest of them just keep moving on.
So can we zoom in on this? Are there any that appear uninfected with the group?
You can do a little zoom in with this, but if you try and get any details on anybody in the crowd, it's like too pixelated to really tell.
Are they shambling or are they
Shambling.
walking like a normal person?
So I should say some are shambling, some are walking.
Okay, so it kind of seems like we've got a lot of the potentially intelligent variety. And it also answers our question of, are they undead or are they just rabid? Because the ones that were cut in half, they died.
Yeah, it took them a while, but they did.
So they're just hard to kill.
Sounds like it.
Oh, that's all I got.
So, what time is it now, Aaron?
You're looking at it being 11:25, and at this time, whoever's number you gave Mike and Veronica, that number buzzes.
Okay, we're gonna check out the video.
Okay, you check out the video, and you can see Mike and Veronica. They're both like in sweatpants and sweaters, and he's got like a Doom Eternal sweater on, and she's got a Grand Theft Auto 5 sweater on, and they do both tests clear.
Okay, so I mean that's them. I've seen them before. That's them. They seem clear.
So Rachel will look at the video, and she takes a deep breath and she's like, yeah, we should bring him up here, for sure. But I think we should both kind of do it I think we should do it in the morning. I think we should wait out the night, rest, kind of collect ourselves, get prepped for it, and then go get him.
Your camera feed for the building switches over to the exterior, where you saw the man go into the paint shop, and you can see he's carrying out 2 large, like the plastic drums, essentially, by the handles, and one looks like it's acrylic block surfacer, and the other one looks like it's like concrete and masonry primer.
What the fuck?
And his bag looks to be full, and it's slightly open. And as he starts moving, you watch as his bag like unzips, and the one of those bags of like single component concrete resurfacer drops to the ground, and he waddles back over it with the two cans and puts them down, and he picks it back up and puts it back in his bag, and he looks around, and eventually he goes to one of the cars, and he pulls out a bit of bungee cord from one of the cars, and he like tries his best to zip his bag, and then starts bungee cording his bag to close it the best he can, and then he starts moving again.
He's clearly looks like he's gonna be building up something. I don't know what he's building up, but he's gonna be doing something.
So, after we get off the phone with the people on the second floor, I will mention that we've already seen that the infected have a much more intelligent variety, like the kid dialing phones. How do we know that these people are any different?
And it's on that question where the camera fades to black, and we end our first episode of Here We Are, Year Zero. And we will see you guys next time. I've been your DM, GM, storyteller, Forgotten Dreams, and I've been joined by Cabby, Ava, and Eric, all playing wonderful characters in our first time with the Outbreak Undead 2nd Edition. And we will see you guys Monday. Every Monday at 8:30 is when this show will be coming back. Adios.